Hello, fly boys and fly girls. Welcome to Critical Mess, episode number 35, the podcast where three dudes in the ad business discuss movies the critics and audiences don't agree on. I'm Nick Honeywell. I'm here with my buddies Gris Griswold and Brian McCullough. Producer Bennett's here. Greet the fly boys and fly girls, gents.
Hey, everybody. This is Gris.
Hey, this is Brian McCullough. My fighter pilot call sign is Spice Lord.
Ooh, we're going to talk call signs. I'm looking forward to that discussion, for sure.
Do we have to give each other the call signs? How does it work?
We'll find out.
Yeah. We will find out.
I think you're giving your call sign, right?
I just that's my own call sign.
Yeah. We'll talk about that again.
Okay.
Icebreaker, what's your call sign?
yeah.
No?
I already answered.
Yeah. No, that's not our icebreaker, but our icebreaker is related to the film we're going to talk about tonight. And here it comes. What's your guilty pleasure Tom Cruise movie?
Man, that's a tough one because it depends on how you define guilty pleasure. Like, is it that it's not a good movie? Or is it that you're embarrassed that you like it because you shouldn't like it? Or is it because there's content in the movie that is awkward to watch?
That is up to you to determine.
So I'm going to determine what I think is not a good movie, and it's, I don't want to say cringe. Didn't we say we can't say that word? Is it what we're supposed to say instead?
You were not allowed to say that.
Awkward.
We apologize to our young
sus.
audience
Oh,
members.
that's right. It's kind of a sus movie, but I still enjoy it. Jerry Maguire is my guilty pleasure Tom Cruise movie.
It's a good one.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Which guy, Gris?
Mine's a Mission Impossible film. If you guys want to guess what 17 of them there are, I'm going to go with number 4,
Oh,
which
okay.
is Ghost Protocol.
You're right to be embarrassed by that.
No chance.
I know.
That is a
That's
great
a-
film.
that's my
I don't
proud
even
pleasure.
feel like
It
there's
is
nothing.
a-
I know nothing guilty about that for me.
It's weird, but it's like something I will. It's definitely a feel good movie that I watch on repeat while folding laundry. Or it's so good.
yeah.
You got Renner coming in.
I
hot?
thought you were going to say Eyes Wide Shut.
No,
No.
definitely
Okay.
not.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that.
I'm also going Mission Impossible. I'm going number dos.
Oh, man.
Ooh.
Everyone hates
That's
it.
pretty good.
That is
Everyone
good.
hates it, but it's John Woo, it's motorcycles, it's guns blazing, and I'm having a good time.
And it's sus.
I'm having a good time the whole time.
It's a good answer.
A lot of rock climbing.
There's some rock climbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best opening scene in a
Yeah, most
post
epic.
Mission Impossible
sure.
1.
There's a lot to
I don't
like,
even
guys.
remember it because I don't consider it a movie.
All right, well, the movie that we are talking about tonight, we're going to be spoiling it. Came out in 86, so that should be probably fine, hopefully. But we would say watch it. We'd advise that. It's always nice to track along with the podcast here. But we are talking about a movie, if you didn't get it from my greeting, it's all about flying, right? And we've already done a couple of flying movies, if you guys recall, right? We've done
The Greatest Showman? Wait.
kinda.
Blow.
We did Armageddon.
Oh, there's flying in there.
Okay.
Well, Snakes on a Plane.
Oh,
That's
yeah. Snakes on a Plane.
That's a flying
There
movie.
you go.
Yeah.
Half Baked.
Okay.
That's a flying
Are
movie.
you guys
Sure.
also, that
They're
we've done
high.
so many episodes, you're starting to forget?
Clearly.
Okay,
clearly.
just to make sure I wasn't alone, I'm glad.
But yes, we were talking about the OG Top Gun.
I'm gonna send you up against the best. Yes, sir. You two characters are going to Top Gun.
I feel the need for speed.
For 5 weeks, you're gonna fly against the best fighter pilots in the world.
You guys really are cowboys.
I don't like you because you're unsafe.
That's right.
I am dangerous.
The wild card flies by the seat of his pants.
Yeah, I guess when I see something, I go right after it.
It takes a lot more than just fancy flying.
Gentlemen, this school is about combat. There are no points for second place. Figured it out yet? What's that? Who's the best pilot? No, I think I can figure that one out on my own.
Tom Cruise, Kelly McGillis. Top Gun.
So you want some numbers?
Yeah,
on
give me
this
some
movie.
numbers, man.
15 million budget, which seems crazy. I know that
What?
in $15 million in 1986.
Not 50? I thought it'd be 50.
No, 15.
15?
1 5.
That seems so low.
And I know that's in like $86. That's like $2 trillion now. But still, for the air combat footage and that kind of stuff, I can't believe that just didn't
That's
cost more.
really surprising to me. Although, you're not paying Tom Cruise as much then as you are in Maverick, so you've got in Val Kilmer, you don't have cast fees that are eating that up. Probably.
True. Yeah, very true. And it's funny too, like no one was like the first, we might talk about this a little bit later, but no one was like the first choice for this movie. It wasn't a first choice director, it wasn't a first choice writer, it wasn't a first choice lead, it wasn't a first choice screenwriter. They didn't get,
Did you say not a first choice director?
Correct.
Oh.
Correct. Yeah, we're going to talk about...
So this movie could have been so much different.
It's going to be a Hot Pocket, so...
Cool.
Yeah, and one of the directors is going to blow your mind, I think.
Oh,
yeah,
because it would have been
There's some good
quite
ones.
the film if this
I can't
person
wait.
directed it.
Can we just skip everything?
One of the
and go right to Hot
directors
Pocket?
directed one of my top 10 of all time.
I'm pulling up that list right now.
He's too excited.
We could have used a race car in that one, Ben.
I got to do some recon here. I'm going to make a
Yeah, we got
guess.
it.
I'm going to make a guess. You keep talking.
Brian, we're going to Hot Pocket that. We're going to Hot Pocket that.
Okay.
But you do what you got to do.
Okay.
So 18 million in 1986 is worth 51 million today. So
Which
imagine
Brian was
51
close.
million.
and Top
Wow.
Gun Maverick probably had 4x what that was as a budget,
surely.
as a comp.
Surely.
Are we talking money? Because I got one more quick stat for that.
Yeah.
How much do you think was spent on the planes of this film? Of that 15 million?
I'd have to say most of it, right?
Seems like those in the aircraft carrier are
10 million.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That
That tracks.
1.8 was spent on the aircraft carrier scene that was only shot once because that's all they could afford.
Yeah, you could tell all the footage that was
all the
used
footage
at
was
the
that
beginning and the
sunset,
end was
beautiful,
all,
the landing, all that stuff
They
was
were also
shot.
going to do an aircraft
This, yeah.
carrier like blowing up scene that was cut.
Can you imagine?
But that probably would
But it wasn't shot. It
Yeah,
wasn't.
Top Gun Maverick had a budget of $170 million.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds
There you
about
go.
right.
That's almost 4x. Yeah.
So yeah, so even by today's standards, this was not a super high budget movie by any means. But what did it take down? Took down about 360. 360 that we know about.
God.
So,
I know who the director was.
do you?
Yep.
Okay,
I'm
well,
not going to say it.
Sorry.
Okay.
Hold
back
on,
track.
hold
Back
on.
on
Wait
track.
for a broccoli
Wow.
cheddar Hot Pocket. We'll
Back
just
on
Not even paying attention to the podcast. He's too focused on you.
I'm back, baby.
All right. Well, so yeah, no, we are going to talk directors though. This film, not the first choice, as I said, director, but the late and great Tony Scott. If you don't know Ridley's brother, he's directed some things like Enemy of the State, Man on Fire, Days of Thunder, Beverly Hills Cop 2.
His best movie is Crimson Tide, in my opinion.
Crimson Tide.
Crimson Tide.
I'll give you another one that I think is really underrated that I once again just watched a couple
Don't
of
say
weeks ago
Unstoppable, please.
on vacation. I like that movie, but no.
Okay.
I do like that movie, but no, that's not what I was going to say. Spy Game.
Oh yeah, Brad Pitt.
Underrated.
Pitt.
And you know what? It has a very...
Redford?
I think
right?
so.
Yeah, Robert Redford. Absolutely. It's got a very dirty Brad Pitt, right? And I think usually the rule is like the dirtier the Brad Pitt, like in the film, like literally dirty, like the better the film is. Usually,
Yeah,
like
Fight Club.
check me on that. Check me.
Yeah.
12 Monkeys. I mean, he's usually when he's a dirty man,
Yeah.
the
Fight
movie's
Club.
usually very good. So
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah, that
yeah.
tracks.
And when he's very clean, Burn After Reading, it's
Yeah.
not as good.
Money Train.
Not as good. Very
Yeah.
clean. Yeah.
Meet Joe Black.
The dirty Brad Pitt theory.
Thelma and Louise.
It's a good theory.
Wait,
Yeah.
that one doesn't track.
Yeah. Anyways, I have to credit my uncle for that. He came up with that.
Nice. I like that, Uncle
Good work.
Steve.
Thanks, Uncle
Yeah,
Steve.
Nice job. And he's right.
I haven't seen a really amazingly worded long email from him in a while. I
know. I
covet
think we're
those.
Due.
Yeah.
We're due. We're due. Shout out to our Uncle Steve's.
Yeah.
This one written by Jim Cash. And I just want to say just stop for 1 second and talk about what a ridiculously cool name that is.
Jim Cash.
Jim Cash. In fact, I might just change my name to Jim Cash.
That's
right
almost
now.
as good as Ty Dolla $ign.
Yeah, it's close. Anyways, Jim Cash, Tony Snow. These are good names. Also written by Jack Epps Jr. Not quite as cool of a name, but actually kind of a cool name too. All right. So who's in this fine film? Well, the star of our generation, Mr. Thomas Cruise, the one and only. There are other people. They're the one and only.
Yeah, but he is the draw.
It's Tom Cruise.
Top Gun. It's Tom Cruise.
Fresh off a risky business, just ready to roll. We've also got Val Kilmer. We've got Kelly McGillis. We've got Anthony Edwards, Tom Skerrit, Meg Ryan. A lot of people in this movie.
Tim Robbins? Little bit of a Tim Robbins in the movie.
Tom, what?
Yeah, Tim Robbins. He was just he was just on. He's at the very beginning and he dies, I think, on this scene we're seeing here. But yeah, I was shocked. He must have just been right at the beginning of his career.
I can't believe I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, am I
Good
wrong?
call.
I don't think I'm wrong, right?
No, we're going to go with it.
Okay.
You can pause it.
I
and
feel
see.
wrong because now everybody's like,
No. I very easily could
all
have
right.
that.
Anyway, yeah, stacked early cast.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. A lot of famous people in this one. So, quick refresher about the criteria for movies we talk about. So, movies got to be fresh with audiences, rotten with critics, or vice versa on Rotten Tomatoes. The disparity's got to be 20% or so. So on Rotten Tomatoes, this one, Top Gun, is a 57% with critics and an 83% with audiences. So a decent gap here. And interestingly, a super similar gap to the film we talked about last time, Enemy at the Gates. So in terms of both the spread and where the spread lies on the 100 point scale.
Yeah.
So
not to go on a tangent here, but do you guys have this experience where you're talking to somebody about our podcast and you kind of explain the gimmick? Like we look at movies that have a disparity between, whatever, and the person's reaction is, "Oh, cool," and then they say something like, "Oh, have you guys done Dune 2 yet?" And it's or like something like that, and it's always like, didn't you listen to the whole point of it? Like, has this happened to you guys?
It has happened to me where people call out, they immediately think it's really a cool idea, and then they will actually call out a movie that is part of the criteria without them even knowing. They just knew that it was
not my
divine.
experience. That's
been my experience thus far.
Have you guys done The Godfather? And it's like,
Mine I get is like, what about this movie? Does it meet your criteria? And you're like, I don't know.
Let me check my mental Rolodex.
Let me see if I can.
Anyway, not to disparage the average listener. I think maybe I'm doing a bad job at explaining the podcast in the wild. So I'm just
very
curious
likely.
if you guys had that experience.
Get a better elevator pitch.
I do need a better elevator pitch. Yeah.
all right. This is Critical Mess. I'm here with Brian. I'm here with Gris. I'm here with producer Ben. And we are talking Top Gun. And we're sponsored tonight. What are we sponsored by? Well, it's an old friend. An old friend. Is it we're doing straight bourbon tonight? Straight bourbon whiskey? Old
This
Elk.
is blended straight bourbon whiskey by Old Elk, Greg Metzy, head distiller.
You should probably get that name right.
Great, yeah.
With the sponsorship.
Well,
Sorry, Greg.
It's in a heavy cursive.
Yeah, he's got a great sig, though.
Master distiller.
Yeah.
It's a baller signature.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It looks great. The bottle
Anyway,
looks great.
Old Elk, man. It's
Tastes
so
great.
delicious as always.
Old Elk. And as I like to say, we fucks with it. So,
Yeah, we do.
Do you say that?
Yeah, I think, well, they're not, once again, they haven't paid us anything yet. So
True, that's true.
I will stop cursing when we talk about Old Elk once the checks start rolling in.
I mean, if they add us on Insta and they're like, "Hey, just stop cursing."
Yeah, and by checks rolling in, I mean a bottle.
At least
We
a
get
bottle.
a bottle.
Once,
Yeah.
once
Bottle
a year,
sponsorship.
a small bottle of
Yes.
Yeah, for Christmas maybe, anything?
Yeah, Old Elk, we love you. We no matter what you do.
It's so good, though.
We love you.
I love it.
Staying hydrated with Modelo, and yeah, that's what we do. Okay, let's get into it. First exposure to this film. This is kind of an interesting one tonight because this movie's been out for so long. I mean, you guys could have seen this when you were 4 years old. You could have seen it last night for the first time. Tell the people.
I definitely did not see this early on in life. I think I saw this maybe 8-10 years ago, maybe. So sometime in college range, so after college. So pretty late to the game. But I watched it again today
Oh, sweet.
to catch up real
Nice.
fast.
You have been go. Jeez.
Yeah.
I am not personally drawn to airplanes or aircraft or modern warfare or anything military. It's just not my jam, not my cup of tea. So I've never sought this movie out. I've always been aware of its existence. I remember when Kings Island was owned by Paramount and they built roller coasters and rides that were movie themed. They had such iconic rides as Drop Zone, which is now Drop Tower, Outer Limits, Flight of Fear, which is just Flight of Fear.
Limits. Yeah, it was a
They
rowdy
had a
one.
Tomb Raider one. They had Face Off, which is now in Vertigo. Well, they built one called Top Gun, which is now the Bat, and it was like their first kind of suspended, roller coaster where the cars are sort of under the track. Really fun ride. And so I was very aware of this movie franchise. I had just never seen it. And so when Top Gun Maverick came out, nowadays I'm just such a huge Tom Cruise fan. I mean, I will watch anything that he releases, except I didn't watch The Mummy.
Just don't.
No, just don't. Okay.
Just don't. This is coming from
Yeah.
Gris, who's usually with the audience, but
Yeah.
just don't do it.
But every other one I've seen. And so when that came out, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going to see this, of course. And so I wanted to be familiar with the material, so I watched Top Gun like maybe the week before. So I saw it, whenever that was, 4 or 5 years ago when that came out. And then again this past Saturday, and I actually watched it twice over the weekend because actually I zoned out in the third act.
That's not a good sign.
No, I know.
Here we go.
And
Let's do
it's my own fault, I think. So I
He got blindness like this guy.
Yeah, that like the guy who couldn't see. Yeah. Anyway, so I kind of skimmed the first 2 acts, and I very intentionally watched the third act again. So I got to do my due diligence. I can't come in here unprepared.
Yeah.
All right. So 3 times.
I'll go. I have no fucking clue, honestly. I know I saw it. I know the latest I could have possibly seen this was like early high school. I probably saw it sometime in middle school. I'm sure I watched it a couple of times in high school. I'm sure I've seen it 2 or 3 more times since then, including last night. I'd say the over-under on viewings for this, for me, is 5, maybe.
All right. So a collective 10 watches in the room-ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could talk about this movie.
I think we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to rate this movie?
I do.
Okay, well, why don't you go ahead and do that for us?
So in 5 words, to me, this movie, these 5 words sort of represent the movie to me. Machismo, military, sweaty, loud, and tender. And, I enjoyed the movie, even though I zoned out. Again, that was kind of my own fault. I did enjoy the movie. I think it's a well-made movie. It's weak on story, weak on plot, and it's a little bit disorienting, but I respect the movie. I'm really hit or miss with Tony Scott. He has made some movies that are in like my top 25, and some movies that are like I would never want to see again. So I'm very torn on his filmmaking style. And this movie falls more towards the class of movies that he does that I don't like. However, I still liked the movie. So I'm going to be at a 58. Which that means it's good. It's worth my time.
Pretty solid. I'm right around a 53.
Oh, hey,
so
we're
just
really
below
close.
you, man. It's a tough watch, but still outrageously enjoyable. There's a lot of things that are fun, but yeah, Scott it's a rough one. But Crimson Tide was one that you recommended a while back, and I really enjoyed that.
Did you?
Yeah, visually, just like intensity,
Feels
everything
totally
about it.
different,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
This is an early film for him, though. Correct?
Yeah.
Top Gun. It was probably before all those.
It was definitely before Crimson Tide.
Yeah.
Crimson Tide's 90s. This is 80s.
Yeah. So I think this is just early, and you can see glimpses of his style in this film, and he was just all over the place. So it's just tough.
Yeah.
82. I just go for this hyper masculine 80s bullshit. I just do. So
Yeah.
is what
that
it
tracks.
is.
That tracks. Yeah.
I'm shocked.
I'm not shocked at all, and I can see myself rating it that as well. Like it's like I did struggle with this. My rating kind of jumped around.
Sure.
It started off like about a 70, and then the more I thought about it, the more, because I don't ever watch the movie the night before we do the recording. I'm not good like that. It takes me longer to process, I think, and so having watched it twice over the weekend and having several days, that's where I sort of like, all right, this is how I feel this should be. But anyway, I can totally see that rating for sure.
Well, here's a question. It's something we talk about sometimes. Maybe we should start doing this. But I'm sure, did you have a rating in mind, before you
That's a great question.
came in? Because I'll just give mine really quick. So I definitely did. I thought for sure I was going to rate this in like the low 70s coming in. So my rating was up about 10 points than I expected, or from what I expected. Yeah, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
I think we should ask this question because I love it because it talks about expectations and a lot of times you sort of rate things based on your expectations rather than just taking it.
Guys, is this
neutral.
a new segment?
I think maybe.
Oh no,
we got to come up with a name.
Somebody just write it down.
I don't think we can skip talking about Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, I think we're going to talk about that.
Is this going to be in the?
That is
a
actually
special segment later.
It could be a pretty deep hot pocket. I think.
And that's also the heart of Brian's Corner tonight. But so I'll say two things there. My rating that I thought I was going to give this movie before ever having seen it, knowing about it my entire life until 2020 or whenever it was that I watched it, 2022. I feel like I would have rated it probably like a 50. And then after watching it 4 years ago, whenever I watched it 5 years ago, prior to this weekend, I remember I did not like it when I first watched it at all. And I was thinking I'd be like a 30 or 40. So then actually watching it this weekend, I was pleasantly surprised. That's my experience.
Yeah, I definitely dropped at points thinking it was going to go in the mid 70s, and it didn't get any better or worse. It just was like, all right, I had to go with a more technical eye with this, and yeah.
All right. You said 70s, right? Was your answer?
83.
No, I'm saying you were expecting.
Oh, you were expecting
like low
70s?
70s,
Yeah.
low 70s. Yep.
I like that segment. We got to name it. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, we'll do that. We will do that. What do we do now? Well, I think we talk about, we actually don't totally agree on this movie. And interestingly, our spread, gentlemen, if you look, pretty close to what's going on Rotten Tomatoes.
57-83. We're at a 53, 58, and 82. Mm-hmm. So Nick, you are 1 point below the audience. Mm-hmm. Gris, you are 4 points below, and I'm 1 point above the critics. So
we are tracking.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, the critics' consensus is, though it features some of the most memorable and electrifying aerial footage shot with an expert eye for action, Top Gun offers too little for non-adolescent viewers to chew on when its characters aren't in the air. Interesting.
Non-adolescent? Oh, yeah, I'll take that as a compliment.
And, well, I think it's calling you adolescent.
I have I'd like to have a young mindset.
I personally disagree with this consensus because I actually like the parts of the movie that aren't in the air more so than the parts that are in the air.
Strongly agree
I disagree.
with that
Yeah,
statement.
you do? Okay,
Yes.
yeah. I agree. I think that the heart of the movie takes place on the ground. Elizabeth Wheatsman, New York Daily News. There are elements that hold up, especially Cruise's blinding charisma. The aerial scenes are still thrilling and perfectly suited to a giant screen. Everything else, well, that depends on how nostalgic you're feeling. Question, how much of your rating is nostalgia?
Oh, certainly some. For me.
None of it.
None for me.
Yeah, I just don't feel a nostalgia, I guess.
How did she describe Tom Cruise?
Blinding charisma.
Blinding charisma.
I agree.
Beautiful.
Totally. I mean, that smile. I can see my face in that smile.
Oh, Tom.
And his
Smirk because he's got his pen in his hand. He's snapping it behind the desk.
Yeah, intoxicating.
Him and his middle tooth.
Yeah, his center teeth.
His
TC.
center tooth.
My man TC.
Tom. All right.
Almar Haflidason, BBC.com. Top Gun is the type of movie that turns the screen into an altar. Kneeling before its slick facade of 1980s magnificence, you are in the shadow of a film that has defined the modern-day action blockbuster. Question, did Top Gun define or did Top Gun perfect the blockbuster? What do we think about the blockbuster in this era? Is it already a thing? And did Top Gun refine it?
Right. Of course it was. I mean, you've got Star Wars and Jaws and, you've got lots of blockbusters. Summer blockbusters, I would say.
When did the first Star Wars come out?
77. I think Jaws and E.T. are kind of two of the main, and, obviously Star Wars. So I would say late 70s turn. So this is within the same decade that sort of the modern day blockbuster was invented. But what do you guys think about the modern day action blockbuster? Maybe action blockbuster.
Yeah, I like that.
Because that's different from adventure or fantasy blockbuster. Action blockbuster. What do we think? Do we put Top Gun on Mount Rushmore of action blockbuster?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think
so.
The definition
I would
of
say so.
blockbuster.
I think so. Dave Kerr, Chicago Reader. Every moment is hyped for maximum visual and visceral impact, but Scott doesn't display the slightest bit of interest or belief in the actual characters and situations? Guys, did you feel any stakes with the characters?
I did. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's tough. I think the jerkiness and like the flying segments were just so off-putting for me visually and just interest-wise. So I didn't feel like they were in danger. It didn't feel real in comparison to kind of the new film. Obviously, takes some.
Yeah,
Maverick takes a lot of that, but it's hard for me.
I think 20 points in my rating is just sheer characters. Mm-hmm. I love these characters. They are very memorable.
Charismatic. They're very personal. Yeah.
Yeah, I respectfully disagree with Dave Kerr. I think he does take interest in the characters and situations. And I've seen other action blockbusters where the director does not so much care about the actual characters as much as just the sheer action. So I would put Top Gun in a group of movies where the director, I feel like the director did characters a service, not a disservice. So that's just my opinion. Kathleen Carroll, New York Daily News. Top Gun is terribly monotonous. Agree or disagree?
I mean, definitely hard to disagree. I think this movie keeps me on my toes.
I mean, I'm interested in it, but I don't think it was monotonous.
I think there are sequences that are monotonous in and of themselves, but I think the movie overall, to me, did not feel monotonous.
If you don't like these kind of high-paced action sequences, I mean, I could see you just kind of being like, geez, here's another plane flying by. I could see that, but I think it's cool.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, that's a good point. It's all about what you're into. Yeah. Adam Naiman, this is the penultimate. The Ringer. Stupid brilliance. My question to the room is, was that a positive review?
Stupid brilliance?
It's like a double negative. I think it's a 2 out of 4.
I took it as a positive review to me. Finally, Roger Ebert. The dogfights are absolutely the best since Clint Eastwood's electrifying aerial scenes in Firefox. Never seen that. But look out for the scenes where the people talk to one another. His rating was a 2.5 out of 4. Question, final question. Does the movie lack in the performance department?
I don't think so. I think this falls right in the mid 80s, late 80s. Like everybody's going hard in their characters, and I think they have a lot of personality. They're very loud and rambunctious with it. So I think.
Sorry, Gris.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, and I think the dialogue is good. And I think that really helps. I
agree with one exception. Okay, so I think a very strong part of this movie is the bromance between Goose and Maverick. Right. I think a very weak part of this movie is the romance between Maverick and Kelly McGillis.
It's not that hot.
She has some kind of bad dialogue too.
Yeah. She's the roughest.
She's the roughest.
Yeah.
But other than her, I think the performances were really good.
Yeah.
So I disagree with that. So I kind of disagreed, despite my rating being very close to the critics' percentage rating. I kind of disagreed with, and I know I didn't read all the ratings, but there weren't that many. There weren't that many top critic ratings on, especially an older movie like Top Gun. There was maybe, 40. I read, a tenth of them just now, and I didn't just cherry pick bad or good. Some of these are bad, some were good, but I kind of disagreed with what some of them were saying here. So
interesting.
Yeah. So I think critics are, I guess, I would say, if I had to sum what I just read up, I'd say they're pointing to the craft. No, they're not pointing to the craft. They're pointing to the storytelling and performance more than the craft, I'd say. So maybe genre. Yeah, that's
like
what
aircraft or.
When I say craft, I mean like how well the movie is made, like from a quality perspective. And I think I don't think they're lambasting that. I think what they're doing is looking at story and performance and docking it for that. So, What about the audience?
Audience is an interesting one. A lot of high ratings or low ratings and vice versa in the words. So the way they chose to talk about it were high ratings, and they're like, oh, it's just one of those chalky 80s movies or whatever, but they gave it a high rating anyway out of nostalgia, I'm guessing. So,
so their words were kind of not hot on
they
it,
were
but then
flipped.
their rating was
a
really
lot
good.
of the ones I read were just completely flipped to what they were rating, but they talked about. So this is just a fun movie. 4.5 out of 5. It's just a lot of these are a true masterpiece from the 80s with a filter that only Tony Scott could provide. 5 out of 5. So then you get into a little bit more granular. So one of the most overrated movies of the 80s, as well as most overrated Tom Cruise movie ever. Hot take.
Oh.
Top Gun has likable characters, really good performances, cinematography, but it had no story. All this movie is military propaganda, pilots training to fight with nothing interesting happening. Movie is so boring and dull. The best part of the movie is the Danger Zone song by Kenny Loggins.
You know what? I want to go back to the one you read right before that. You said the word overrated, and that's kind of
they
tracking
said
with
one.
me.
Yeah, I said it in this one.
Oh, that's the same one.
Yeah.
I actually feel like, and I'm not saying, when I say overrated, I don't mean that it's rated too high by critics. What I'm saying is I just feel like this movie, when it's talked about, how important it is in the zeitgeist of movies, how it's heralded and lauded as sort of this action, thing that exists. I think it's a little overrated there. A little bit. It's a little like it was a little underwhelming when I finally watched it.
This is a pattern I've noticed with a lot of, I don't know how many 80s movies we've done thus far, but a lot of these movies are high audience, low critic, and they have an outrageous amount of charisma in their characters, and they have some type of kernel of heart in somewhere in the movie that gives you a damn about the characters and what's happening to them. So I think it's hard to not look at this and be like, oh, it's at an echelon of like personality and memorability. But I don't know, what do you think about that? Was a 2.5 out of 5 rating. Yeah. The original Top Gun was kind of boring, but it was okay. 2.5. This is a quote good enough summer blockbuster from long ago that holds up okay. You can see why it was hit at the time, but I have no idea why folks were still talking about it so much before the sequel came out. A lot of the ways dudes act in this pretty much cringe by today's standards. Tony Scott directing saves what would otherwise be a pretty forgettable film. 3.5 out of 5.
Oh, so not a lot of. I'm not hearing 5 stars.
Not a lot of 5s. I mean, there were a lot of them that just said best movie I've ever watched, 5 out of 5.
Okay.
Greatest film, 5 out of 5.
Those
A lot of these were just super quick.
The people who saw this and then like joined the Navy. I feel like. No, that's a thing.
There's a lot of semen in those comments.
Yeah, and I'm not making fun of those people. I think so. When this came out, I was 4, and so I did not go see this movie. One of my really good friends who lives just right down the street, I was talking to him over the weekend about this. He was 10 when this came out. His dad took him to see it in the theater, and it had a profound impact on his life. And he joined the Navy because of this movie, and he knew a lot of other people that did the same.
Not surprising.
So I think that speaks to how well this movie is kind of engineered and built to sort of highlight and hype up, just how awesome it is to fucking get in an F. I mean, how many people got an F-14 poster and put it on their walls? I just feel like I was half a decade too young for this movie to really hit me.
Agreed.
This was like Jurassic Park for the older crowd.
Yeah.
So
okay, I can see that. I have one last audience review. This came in late, but it's my little brother who is in the Navy out in San Diego. So great spot for him.
Okay.
I asked him what he thought of Top Gun, just as like the OG Top Gun. He goes, "I'm crazy sick right now, but about to pass out. Classic, great practical effects. Can't beat it. Love it."
Wow, he was crazy sick, but he still could muster.
He still mustered up every bit of he could out of this movie.
Yeah, I might want to give him a call.
I did.
What's going on?
I just love
Good
how
thing
he
his
was like,
fingers still
"I'm
work."
super ill."
I'm on my deathbed, but fucking fantastic piece of cinema.
Yes, brilliant.
Yeah.
All right, critical
Wait,
mass.
real quick,
What?
I found one audience. Sorry to interrupt. I had to read
Please,
one
no,
audience
enlighten
review.
us.
Kinnick W. This is what he put on the internet.
He put it on the internet. Okay.
I haven't watched this, but my brother put me in a bad mood, so frick this movie. 0.5 out of 5. This
Damn.
exists. You can go find it.
Wow.
Just rage spamming this movie.
Frick this movie.
Frick. He didn't say fuck it. My brother put me in a bad mood. Frick it. Frick this movie.
Galder and that brother.
All right. Anyway.
Anyway, this is Critical Mass. Brian, Gris, Ben. And we're flipping scripts, which is going to be, you guys are pretty down the middle here.
We're gonna have to really clarify how we're flipping here, because I've gotten some feedback that sometimes people are a little confused during the segment. Like, okay, you were high, you were low, but now you're speaking high and you're speaking low, and sometimes we say good and bad things, so which is fine, but I think we should try to clarify.
So since you and I are both middle of the road, do we just allow Nick to speak to his high rating?
So
and then we agree to disagree?
Sure. We can, although I'm going to flip this negative because I still think it's a good movie and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So I have I have a lot of positive to say about the movie, but I do have some very specific negatives that speak to why why it brought it down. So I would like to flip, but I think Nick's flips
to the positive end.
I'm going to flip to the negative end.
Okay.
This is why.
Negative end. Yes,
I agree with you. I'm almost confused now. I don't blame the listener for being confused. Okay, so Brian's talking, and he gonna flip negative right now. Okay, I'm going negative. I'm just gonna say a few negative things, and then obviously Nick, you're gonna have to drum up some negativity, and then Gris, you're closer to. I'll let you decide, but let's just go with what we know right now. And I'm gonna say a couple things. It's hard for the layperson to identify with all the Navy stuff, so it seems very like. Nick, you were saying you're all about this movie because you're eating up the planes, and I, to a certain extent, like the planes. But there's a whole segment of the population that don't give a shit about the military and a shit about planes, right? So that's a little negative. The aerial scenes were, frankly, disorienting for me. I think they did the best they could, and I don't know how they did this. I still don't know how they filmed this movie back when they did it, and kudos to them. But I can't help but being disoriented. A lot of times I'm like, wait, who's behind who, and who's flying where, and where are they at? Especially after seeing Top Gun Maverick, where there's a lot of clarity in the aerial movements. Mm-hmm. So that was a negative for me. And the biggest one for me was it felt empty. The movie felt empty and simplistic. There wasn't like a B story, side characters, much variation in the setting, subtext, anything like that. And I feel like that's okay when you're talking about a small movie. Like before we started recording, we talked about The Wall. Which is a sniper movie, which kind of harkens back to our last episode in Made the Gates. The Wall is a very, very, very small movie, very thin movie, but it's a small movie, and I feel like that's okay. In this movie, this is a huge movie. the subject matter, the time period, the characters, the world building, it's huge, but not a lot happens. And it felt like it was missing something to me. And that was the story. And then I'll also just say Kelly McGillis was bad. That's me flipping negative. Those are the things I did not like about this movie.
Yeah, I think I got to go flipping positive because opposite of you, I think this is just it's a bad movie, but I enjoyed it. I just don't think it was technically good. I don't think it was visually or character driven. I just didn't like a whole lot of it, but I think it's just, it has like that pull. Tom Cruise's charisma, Iceman, like Goose, like all that personality. I think that is what I'm going to flip to, is the characters I actually thought were, they were fun. They were outrageously enjoyable. You have all these guys that are playing to the like 11th level. Like they're at the top of their game. They're just all screaming or over each other or whatever. I think that was the best part of the film, other than some of the cinematography was pretty great. It was, discombobulating, but I think it was done really well. Like the stylistic way that Scott is doing this, was, I wouldn't say balanced well, but I think it was visually interesting. That kept my attention. It kept me interested. It kept me going throughout the entire flick. So it's hard to say a lot of positive stuff, but that's all.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, for sure. Nice flipping.
All right. Well, I got a couple things, but obviously I really liked this film. I would say Morning Goose got a little tedious. I think I didn't really like that kind of whole sequence all that much. Went on for a little while.
It was a good solid 10 minutes of the movie.
It seemed like it was just going on and on.
It was the sadness.
Sad morning, not in the morning.
Yeah, no.
Because there were a lot of
morning,
early,
not morning.
There were a lot of early scenes in this movie.
Yeah. Goose. No, Goose early in the morning is great. I love that Goose. But when he dies, it's just like, okay, yeah, I get it. Yeah, Kelly. Kelly's rough.
Yeah.
Kelly is rough. And I think those sequences when they're kind of chatting kind of oscillate between like really good kind of smart dialogue and like ultra sus.
I know the word you wanted to say there, and I heard it.
I know, but now my brain has replaced.
Yeah.
Now the two are synonymous.
We try to stay relevant here at criticalmess.com Incorporated.
Do you guys want to guess why her scenes were kind of rough? Do you guys have an idea or why that was?
Yeah, I mean, I guess probably because she sucks at acting.
Well, there's that.
I was going to say the same.
I guess they tested this film and people were not thrilled with zero love interest, so they smacked her on at the end and reshot some scenes and added some scenes, and including the sex scene, to make it more romantic and more emotional.
So it was a rewrite, reshoots.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the last thing I'll say is that it just wasn't, it didn't have Neo from the Matrix in it.
Come on, Ben. Whoa. There we go.
And so it seemed light on sound effects.
It was Nick. I was
Thank you for bringing up the Matrix tonight, Nick. I really appreciate that.
Whoa.
It's no problem. There we go.
Now I'm happy. Now I'm back happy again. Well, I was never not happy. I don't know why.
So it was Nick. So impulse went to yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Your finger, you're like,
that would have been fine too.
Yeah.
But my finger has to go to Brian's thing.
It broke my brain.
It's all right. Okay. Now. Ooh. Now we have a new segment.
Oh, yeah.
Still new. Kind of new. Still new.
Absolutely new.
Absolutely new. Has a name. It does not have a sound, does it?
Do we have a sound?
That'll work for now.
Yeah. Doesn't quite match, but I like it.
I don't know. We have something. It's something. Yeah. It's called Marquee Mess, and it's the segment where we rename the film. So, yeah, I'm ready to get right into this. I'll start us off.
Go for it.
Brother Goose.
Brother Goose.
Instead of Mother Goose.
Brother Goose.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm in it. I'm tracking.
Yeah. See, it's a weak pun. A weak pun. Someone else want to toss one out?
Don't go all at once.
Are we actually?
I'm super comfortable.
Are we going to go around?
I'm super comfortable with dead air.
Listen,
have you ever done Marquee Mess before?
There are no rules on Marquee Mess. You just vibe it. You just go ahead and vibe it.
Vibe it
out,
okay.
man.
If it's on your heart to speak, you speak.
Yeah. Like my youth group.
Yeah, it's like we're in church. If you feel you want to give a praise,
I have it.
praise with a Marquee Mess.
We'll start with an easy one.
I have a silent prayer request.
Top Fun.
Top fun. We're already in pun land. I love it.
Yeah.
Punland is where it was filmed.
Yeah. I think a great name for this movie would have been Days of Thunder.
Nice. How about The Goose Can't Get Loose?
He did get loose.
Sadly. No, he didn't actually.
They set him loose.
He tried to get loose, and that was his demise.
Ended up splattered on the canopy.
What's good for the goose?
Oh, you probably stole one. I feel like yours is all Goose themed tonight.
Could be Goosey.
Goose in the gander.
What about
Goose
fuck Goose?
For real? Is that your?
No, I just made that up. Fly Hard, the Pete Mitchell Chronicles.
Fly Hard.
Pete Mitchell. Oh, that's his name, right?
Yeah,
they don't say that
Mitchell.
very often.
Like 6 times in this film. They say his name. I had to count.
I think a good name for this movie could have been Risky Business.
So we're just recycling.
Yeah, now
Are you just looking at Tom Cruise movies?
I think Brian forgot to do his homework. He was just scribbling right before.
I think this could be called Minority Report.
No, that's not on my list. That's
Plagiarism.
How about War of the Worlds?
Ooh, is it Vanilla Sky?
Yes.
Yay! Oh my gosh.
Spoiler, I think this could have been called Vanilla Sky.
Oh man.
Tom's Cock. Tom's Cock.
Pardon you? What?
Cockpit. Tom's Cock.
Oh.
Ooh, I think you were thinking about, you're kind of showing your cards about what you were thinking about this whole movie every time you watched it.
Well, he was a stick jockey, and they made a lot of dick jokes about Tom.
You're just making it worse.
I'm just saying.
It's going down.
We don't judge. We don't judge marquee mess. We don't judge the marquees. This is a safe tree of trust. Are we not in the tree?
No, yeah. I think
We're in the nest.
I think we are. We're in the tree. Pecs and plane wrecks. It's not great. I have a couple more.
I only got one more.
Tomfoolery.
That's good. Yeah, I like that.
Felt good about that one.
Guys, this could have been called Young Guns.
Young Guns. I like that.
With a Z.
How about
No, just another Tom Cruise movie. That's all. Just Young Guns.
He's just like Tom Cruise movie.
That's it. Guys, my critical messes are all, my marquee messes are all Tom Cruise movies, obviously.
the Definitely Not Gay movie?
Ooh, yeah. Definitely not gay. Not another, yeah. Okay.
How about fuck this segment.
Wait, I've got another good one.
No, go. Yeah.
A Few Good Men.
Brian.
Son of a bitch.
All right, so this one is a parallel of another film. Hopefully you get it. Plains, Dames, and Western Ideals.
Yeah, that's, yep. I like the ideals rhyming with mobiles. Yeah. That's good.
Thank you.
That's good.
Jig with a MiG.
This could have been called Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, actually, it could have been. And funny, Ben, that was on my list. That was one of the.
Oh, was it?
But I was like, no, that's too.
Actually, Maverick would have been a great name for this.
Just
movie.
Maverick.
Yeah.
Of course, then
That's
we
another
couldn't have
movie.
well, that came after this.
It's a better movie.
It's a great movie.
I think this could have been called All the Right Moves.
You're doing like a bit, I guess.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear. I'm to quote another movie. I'm laying it on you pretty thick.
He's the bad boy.
This is called sarcasm. You got any more, Nick?
Legend.
That was the fucking next one I was going to read. What the fuck? You didn't have that. You just came up with that. You son of a bitch. I literally, that's next on my list is Legend.
Yeah. Flying Sweaty.
Yeah. My two honorable mentions are American Made and Valkyrie. So
Not Tropic Thunder.
these are all didn't quite. Tropic Thunder didn't quite work.
Never in the
I looked
tropics.
through the man's entire filmography, and those were and he literally has 10 movies that are like that have the exact name that this movie could have had, and it would have worked. Kind of a funny.
All right,
thing
I'm going to
that
give us a C tonight on
I
Marquee
like that.
Mess.
I like that.
Brian, I'm giving you a C- because you plagiarized all of it.
Hey, I thought,
But
that
it was still
great.
a fun idea, so
I
you
thought
passed.
It was good.
Yeah, it was funny. It was
I
fun.
mean, Days of Thunder, Risky Business, Young Guns. Come
Yeah,
on, A Few Good Men. These
Yeah,
are great names for this movie.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
All right, I'll
we
come
get
up with good stuff next time.
We get it. All right, Critical Mess. Old Elk. The straight bourbon.
I need some more.
Yeah, we all need some more. It's ambrosial, that's what we say. Peerless is also what we call it.
Here's the horniest scene in the movie.
Ben, this is
Wait,
the
you just
Old
interrupted
Elk
the ad read.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Old Elk. I'm sorry, Greg Metzi.
Ben's over here all horned up.
Well,
and we're
it's
just trying
horny,
to talk about.
and we're talking about the horn elk you know,
They're antlers. Remember we
Antlers.
figured that out the other time when Nick called them horns and we decided they're
yeah.
antlers?
Yeah, so that doesn't work either.
Sorry. Anyway, we're sorry, Old Elk.
We're sorry, and nothing horny about your
Yeah,
brand. Well,
there-
maybe, or unless that's what you want.
I mean, whatever you want.
It's sexy. It is a sexy
It is a
whiskey.
very sexy
I mean,
whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I probably should.
Yeah,
Probably should
it's
say hello to Old Elk.
pretty delicious.
Anyhow, I hate when people say anywho. Sorry. Don't. Someone should have smacked me for that.
Yeah.
Jiminy.
Anywho, at the end of the day,
Yeah. Who to thunk it? Just,
Ooh.
Who'da
just
thunk it?
hit me
Who
right in
da
the jaw.
thunk it?
Right in the jaw.
Yeesh.
can we talk about that high
That's
five?
cringe, man.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
they
the one
do?
that they do that they
And they
filmed
go
it once
backward?
and they showed like
Uh-oh,
3
the
different scenes
high-low?
of it.
You're talking about the high low.
the high low.
Oh,
yeah, so we're
Yeah.
probably in a hot pocket
Really?
right now.
There.
But just a taste of
Sorry.
the hot pocket. We're watching the volleyball scene where they're all shirtless. It's actually a really good scene. Well, no, it's not.
It could be,
And-
this might be our deepest hot pocket, but go ahead.
But anyway, I just need to give context because Ben has jumped us here,
Well, we
and
can
we're
cut
here.
all
And
this
no, we're not cutting, Ben. We're not cutting.
all stay.
Fuck it, we're doing it live.
We're doing it live.
We are not polished. You can hear us crack open beers on this thing. I feel like there was a sneeze in one of the episodes that didn't get cut. So
Oh, yeah,
anyway,
don't cut out sneezes.
anyway,
That's
there's
real
there's a
life.
high five where there's a high five, and then they keep the arm going to where they reconnect down at the bottom element and
A little up, high, down, low.
up
yeah,
high
and
down low.
that down low ends with a nice slap.
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah.
a little, it's just a pop. And that's hard to do if you think about it. To go high and low
Get a
with
pop.
that type of speed and get a pop.
But they do show it. They do show that high low like 3 or 4 times during the volleyball scene.
Yeah.
And the first 2 times they show it, it's the exact same scene. So it's a repeat of film footage twice in
shit.
the movie. And I actually noticed that on Enemy at the Gates. So I'm talking about that. At the very beginning of the war there's somebody gets shot in the thigh and they like double over and they show it 2 different times about a minute apart. Kind of a fun little thing. If you can ever find that in a movie where they accidentally use the exact same footage twice to show 2 different periods
That's
of time,
crazy.
That's
Back to back.
fun. It's a really obscure. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. We're down
No,
in the
I
depths
see it all
of
the
Brian's
time.
corner. We're in the basement
Yeah.
of Brian's corner right now. Where we're going to come back up to the top.
Well, have you ever
We're
just
already
thought
there.
that Tony Scott just doesn't give a fuck?
I mean, I don't know.
Was he running out of footage? What?
Crimson Tide's a masterpiece. So
Yeah. Might have been doing a couple of rails with Don Simpson, and you never know what happens.
Yeah, Donnie Simpson.
Yeah, Don loved that blow can.
He sure did.
Yeah. Okay. What are we doing next?
Are we tharking real quick?
Let's thark. Tharks for our
Keyword real quick.
for our inexperienced listener is a combination of themes and arcs.
Themes
we do
and
it real
arcs.
fast because everyone hates it.
Themes
so
and
let's,
arcs.
so let's
Themes
get
and
this
arcs.
over with. Let's
Go,
go.
go,
Let's
go,
go.
go,
Let's
go.
Yep.
I'd say grieving and guilt. I'd say the heart of the movie is Goose dying and the grief. And I know, Nick, you said that you did not flip the script. You weren't hot on that. And I agree it was a downer, but I think it was needed because the whole heart of this movie is sort of getting your mojo back, getting re-inspired, shedding unnecessary guilt, and getting out there and doing what you need to
Totally.
do.
It's just the actual morning sequence.
Yeah,
to me, it was just tedious.
It was a downer.
It was tedious.
Yeah, a little tedious.
Yeah.
Agree with you. So I think that's the biggest, strongest one for me here is grieving, guilt, how to move on after loss. I think teamwork is another one. And then as far as arcs, I've got Iceman and learns to trust and respect Maverick. And then I think the strongest arc is Maverick. He's so cocky when he does the flyover and he's like flips him off like upside down and he's so cocky. He's just chewing his gum and he's just smiling. I like the entire first act of the movie, he's smiling. The entire second act of the movie, he's like bracing, and the entire third act of the movie, he's got like this somber, like resolved look on his face, and you can also almost see his arc in his facial expressions throughout the movie. And I think that he gains humility and he overcomes his guilt. Very strong arc.
This is a little off subject, but did you ever notice when Tom Cruise has a close up, he does this little jaw thing where he flexes the muscle
like this?
Like
Yeah,
right-
I have a whole theory about that. A lot of actors
Interesting.
do that actually.
Yeah.
It's not just him, but he does do that.
It's like
But a lot
kind of like you're gritting your teeth, like your teeth are closed and you sort of like
you just got
squeeze
that,
with your
you're just-
jaw. You
yeah,
can see all
got
the muscles.
little- mhm.
Interesting.
to say nothing,
Yeah, that's
but
a thing.
also say something.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
thing.
I like that little call out. That's
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to notice that all the time now.
And a
that you
lot
just
of-
brought
Yeah, I
that
know.
up.
I noticed that. It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting.
Tons of 80s action movies have it.
Yeah.
It's a poker tell of one of my good friends. So
Oh, I bet that. I bet
my
that's
favorite.
a poker tell.
Yeah,
I bet
it's
that's a
pretty good.
poker tell.
Are we done with arcs?
Well, that's my tharking.
I don't give a fucking
yeah,
a
I
thark
mean,
about
I-
tharks.
you know,
Thark 'em.
Yeah, thark this.
Thark 'em.
Tharks a lot.
Yeah, just thark it.
Thank you very much, Brian.
What a hell of a belt.
You're welcome.
It looks like my aunt's.
Okay, we're on screen is Tom Cruise talking to Kelly McGillis in the. There's a little trellis, and Tom Cruise does have a pretty predominant belt
Yeah.
going.
It is quite fancy.
Very floral.
He's a fancy boy.
Yeah. Do you think that this is another off subject thing? Do you think that Bad Boys stole the filter effect that they use in this movie?
Well, that's just. I think Tony Scott does this a lot.
It's really weird. It's a vertical gradient.
Yeah, it's a filter for sure.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, it's pretty noticeable, but it does add a vibe.
It does.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because of the sky, because it's weird, because the sky is sort of darker at the top and sort of gets lighter as it comes down. And it I don't know. I don't know how to describe
Visually,
it.
it's interesting. I noticed that with a lot of the sunset, sunrise boats, like it's a lot of that stuff. But do you think it's an actual physical?
It's an actual physical
filter
It
that
has
he's
to
got
be.
a gradiated.
And it's not the entire movie. It's
No, he's got select scenes that he's doing
it's
it too.
definitely
Yeah.
whenever you see skies, and the aircraft carrier at the beginning is the biggest part of it. But anytime you see the sky, it's like he gets darker, and I don't know, it gives it this sort of just hot summer vibe.
It does. Hot summer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. Ben, hit it. Oh, no.
There we go.
Oh boy.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Brian's Corner, where the pinball machines are always set to free play, and the Hot Pockets are always coming up later. So I want to talk about sequels. Okay, we got Top Gun, we got Top Gun Maverick. Everybody knows it. Everybody saw it. There's 2 Top Guns. It's weird. There's a sequel that came out. When did Top Gun Maverick come out? I keep saying 2020. I think I'm wrong about that.
2022.
2022.
It's supposed to come out in 21. It came in 22.
It was supposed to come out in 2020. Maybe that's the thing. All right, so that's, I don't know, like 30 years. Like that's a crazy amount of time between sequels. But anyway, nevertheless, it was a sequel. And when we say sequel, we mean in the same universe, comes after. It's not a reboot, not a remake. You know, it is part of the lore and the universe of the first, right? So I want to talk about sequels, and I want to talk about specifically sequels that are better than the original. And that's tough, because sequels almost always are worse than the original. And my theory on that, and this is Brian's soapbox, which I sit on the soapbox in my corner, by the way. I don't know if you ever see, I'm sitting on a soapbox. And it's that somebody makes a movie, it's fucking awesome, makes a lot of money, makes a lot of people happy, and then the studio goes, make another one! And they go, okay. And so they fucking come up with some shit and make a shitty movie
very quickly.
Because they have to make
a bunch
it
of people go and watch because they saw the first one. It's called built-in money, and they always make money from it.
And they have to make it in 2 years when they made the first one in 15.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So those are my, and I know I'm generalizing because a lot of times filmmakers make a movie and then they have the sequel already in mind, and I know that all the processes are different, and maybe you can get lightning in a bottle with the second one. All that to say, I am a notable sequel hater, so I want to talk tonight about actually sequels that are good. And I have 9 sequels that are objectively better than the original. And so, context here, I think Top Gun Maverick is a better film than Top Gun for many reasons. We won't go into that. I know maybe we'll talk about some of that in Hot Pocket. Gris, you had some thoughts about that. I like Top Gun Maverick a lot better. I think it's a better movie. Here's some other ones. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. I think Star Trek II is better than Star Trek, the original motion picture.
Agreed.
Do you agree?
Yes.
I've never seen the original. I have seen Wrath of Khan, though, and it's good.
I've seen
really
every
good.
Star Trek
It's real
movie.
good.
Wrath of Khan is tied with maybe the best. There's 2 really good Star Trek movies.
What's your first one?
Well, okay, so Star Trek, the 2009 reboot, I'm a sucker for. I've got the pinball machine. I love the cast. It's so much fun. If we're not including the reboots and we're just talking all the way up through like Nemesis or whatever, I think First Contact.
First Contact is the one.
yeah.
That is the best one.
That one and Wrath of Khan to me are like the 2 objective best, but
Agreed.
definitely Wrath of Khan better than the original. So we're doing 9. That was the first one. The second one, Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior. I liked it a lot better. It has better reviews.
Well, it had a way bigger budget.
Bigger
right?
budget. Yep. I just think it's better than the original. And look, that's a sequel that's now part of a franchise. I've actually listed 2 movies that are part of a franchise now. So we're talking about sequels being the second movie. Okay, I'm not talking about like way down the road.
Yep.
So that's why I didn't say First Contact, because to me that's not the sequel to Star Trek. Here we go. For a few dollars more. So that's the second film in the Man with No Name trilogy. I think The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is the best in that trilogy, but it's the third one, so I don't consider that the sequel. I think A Fistful of Dollars came out, and then For a Few Dollars More was made second, and I thought it was a better movie. Am I
That
you
one
guys seen the
I'm not.
trilogy?
Oh yeah. 3 of the greatest movies, westerns of all
Agreed.
time. Obviously, I mean, obviously, yes. The second one is a more polished film, and it's probably better. You're probably right, but
Not a
Fistful
Far
of
Cry
Dollars
better.
just has this charm to it. I don't know. It's hard. I'm not sure I really can say that the second one's better. That one I might say they're about equal.
Okay. Yeah, I don't expect the room to all be consensus on this, but I think for the most part will be. The fourth one, The Color of Money, I think is better than The Hustler.
Yeah.
Gris, you
Agreed.
turned me on to The Hustler recently, and I watched it, and it's a good movie.
Good movie.
I had actually seen The Color of Money first, and
I
did
need
not
to
realize
see
that
Color
it
of
was a
Money.
sequel.
Yeah.
But and then we're talking about Tom Cruise. There's a little bit of Tom Cruise connection.
Yeah.
Tom
I
Cruise
need
and The
to see
Color
Color
of
of
Money.
Money for sure.
And by the way, little piece of trivia for you. One of my favorite games of all time, Doom, was named because of Tom Cruise in The Color of Money saying the word Doom when they're asking what's in store for them at the pool hall. He says Doom. I'm not sure if it's Carmack or Romero, but anyway. I know
No kidding.
that's super nerdy.
That's really interesting.
You're welcome.
You are a nerd.
Two of you, and the other 1,000 of you. I'm sorry. The fifth one, Paddington 2.
Agreed.
Fucking
Love it.
amazing.
Yeah.
First movie,
Good.
Chef's Kiss. Second movie,
Brilliance.
2 Chef's Kisses.
Ooh,
You're
you don't
gonna
care
kiss
about
that.
kissing though.
You don't care about
I don't.
kissing.
Whoa.
Hey, a chef's a kiss. It's a different kind of kiss. You know, it's like the Italian. Number 6. I mean, The Godfather Part 2. Ooh, that's a hot take.
That's
That
tough.
is because
Don't
Godfather is
agree.
very good.
Godfather's good.
I thought the second one was better.
I didn't.
You didn't. Okay,
Yeah.
I respect
Disagree.
that.
But I respect the.
Okay,
They're both in my top 10.
they're both amazing.
So they're both amazing, but I will pick the first one over the second one.
Yeah.
I think here, to go back to the spirit of this list, you make a movie like The Godfather, okay? How the fuck are you going to make the second movie after that? By all
Crazy.
accounts, that should not have been as good, right? How can you make The Godfather a perfect film, then he fucking makes The Godfather Part 2, and it's arguably better.
Yeah,
if
I'm not
just
mad
as good.
at saying it's better. I mean, yeah.
Put it this
Yeah,
way,
it's still in
even
your top
if it's,
10.
even if it's
Yeah.
as good, how did he do that?
Yeah, it's
how did he
incredible.
fucking
It's
do
impressive.
that?
Truly, probably the most impressive thing that's been done in film.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
That
Probably.
belongs on this list. Actually, maybe the most impressive thing, except for The Empire Strikes Back, might be more impressive to me.
I'm not mad at that either.
Star Wars, come on.
Yeah.
Maybe the most important film ever made. And then you get Empire Strikes Back, the sequel. Holy shit. Better than the original.
Yeah, preaching.
Can't disagree.
The Dark Knight, the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy.
But that's the third.
No, The Dark Knight's the second one. You have Batman Begins.
Dark
Oh no, I'm
Rises.
sorry. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Dark
and then
Knight
you have The
Rises.
Dark Knight with
you're
Heath
right.
Ledger as the
Yeah,
Joker,
you're right.
and then The Dark Knight
Yeah, that's
Rises.
a definite. That's an easy one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Batman Begins, solid movie.
Yeah, a
The
good
Dark
movie.
Knight, a
Yeah.
masterpiece.
Begins is up there.
exactly.
Yeah.
For sure.
But would you agree The Dark Knight is an example of a sequel that's better than the original?
I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I truly disliked Batman Begins.
Okay. Yeah.
And then
Oh, I
Dark
liked
Knight
it.
came out, and I was like, my
So you agree?
God.
You
Yeah.
agree?
Oh,
Yeah.
strongly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys know? Well, I'll say 2 honorable mentions before I say the ninth one on the list. Honorable mentions because I can't tell if I like these better. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Into the Spider-Verse was great. Across the Spider-Verse was equally great. I think I liked it better, but I kind of feel like I'm second-guessing myself. Did you
That's
guys like
tough.
that one
I
better?
saw it in theaters once. I need to see the second one in theaters again. I need to see it again.
I think it's too new for me to sort of have digested
Yeah,
it, but I
that's tough.
think it's a worthy sequel.
Into the Spider-Verse is
They're both damn good.
fucking beautiful.
Again, an
film.
example of you make Into the Spider-Verse, which is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you're going to make a sequel to that? Haha, good luck. Oh, shit, they fucking did it. Okay, that's what this list is. And then the other one, the Lego Movie 2. I like that movie better than the original. I might be alone in that, but the second movie is so fucking good. It gets played in our house all the time.
It's good.
Great movie.
I'm shocked that you like that as much as you did.
Oh, it's so funny. So can you guess what my number one best sequel that's just by far and away better than the original? And the original's really good. Do you guys have guesses?
I can because I just read it over your shoulder.
Oh, don't, well,
Oh, no,
don't,
don't do
then don't
Go
say
ahead.
it.
Go ahead,
Ben?
boys.
Spider-Man 2.
No, I thought about that.
The
but
Sam
no,
Raimi?
no.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I know a couple, but nothing I think it is correct.
Oh, you
though.
would know. If you thought of this, you'd know instantly.
Yeah, I'm sure I would.
I spit out 4 movies, and this is on there.
Yeah,
As soon as
okay.
you came up with the topic, I wrote down a bad
So
movie.
this-
Bad
yeah.
Boys 2.
No,
Bad
The
Boys
rat's
2 is
fucking
better
scene?
than Bad Boys, in my opinion.
I
can't agree with
I
that.
don't.
They're both just 100 out of 100.
Yeah,
so.
they're both very good.
I actually think I like the first one better myself, but yeah.
Well, it's not. Well, it's not Back to the Future.
No.
Because Back to the
Future 2 is
is
amazing,
better.
but Back to the Future 1 is like one of the
Masterpiece.
Best, it's a masterpiece. Yeah. You don't. I mean, you don't have to guess if you don't. I mean,
Yeah, give it to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Terminator 2.
Oh yeah.
Oh well,
Damn it.
I don't.
Now that-
Gosh, I on my top 100. I mean, you can look. I ranked Terminator higher than 2.
I did
You
too.
did?
Yeah, I did too.
No.
You wait.
I rated
we're-
2 better.
Well, I'm sitting in a room with two people who think that the Terminator's better than Terminator 2.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
I liked the horror aspect of 1, and I think it had a stronger oomph than 2. But it's a hard.
It's the hottest take I've heard in 34
I mean, I'm
fucking
just
episodes.
50% of this
I've
room.
always said this, and I've always said I
Yeah.
know it's a contrarian opinion,
I
but
have to
I have
double
stuck
check.
by this for a decade plus. I like
Really?
Terminator
Yeah.
1 better.
I didn't know this about you.
I also I mean, frankly, like I just kind of gravitate to the 80s aesthetic a little more sometimes, especially with that kind of movie. And like Gris said too, the vibe of Terminator 1
So much darker.
to me is just more intriguing than 2. I mean, they're both 4-star classic, almost exceptional movies. They're both
I agree.
so good.
Oh, you're wrong. I had Terminator just slightly above 1. Terminator 2 above 1. But I
Okay.
think I feel like
Okay.
those should be
I
switched.
definitely do not.
Okay.
And I think we're splitting hairs a little bit because
True.
both are just so fucking good.
So I don't believe that I'm splitting hairs here because Terminator 2 is in my like top 10 and the Terminator is not in my top 100. So Terminator 2 is so much better and again, I could go on, I'm not going to, but I could go on and on and on. I've put a lot of thought into this and Terminator 2 is such a good movie for so many reasons. Terminator 1, fantabulous. Terminator 2, that's another word I hate when people use.
That's pretty bad.
Fantabulous. Fuck that word.
Pretty sus.
Yeah, it's like when people say
I'm cringing.
ginormous. I don't do that. Anyway, Terminator 2, come on. Ben, thanks for getting my back on that.
No, I agree.
So yeah, 9 sequels that are objectively better than the original. I was able to find 9. I'm proud of myself. I thought there was only 2 out there. There's 9.
Can I throw out one more interesting
I got
one?
a couple.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go
I'm
for it.
ready. Go for it.
Now, this one I do not agree with, but I think there is an argument for.
Okay.
Aliens.
Yeah.
So when I chat GPT'd this, and I said,
That's
hey,
tough.
give me sequels that are better than the original.
Wow.
Wow.
We're gonna lose our podcast jobs.
Yikes.
Aliens was on the short list. But I went back and checked my reviews and I rated Alien a lot higher than Aliens. But I think a lot of people would make that argument.
It depends on what kind of movie you like. If you like action
Ridley
more than
Scott
horror,
and James Cameron, it's different DNA.
Totally. Yeah. If
Yeah.
you're an action person, you're gonna like Aliens more than Alien.
I can
if you're
see
a
an
horror
argument.
person,
Yeah.
you're gonna like the first one. But yeah,
sure.
you could argue, but do not agree with it.
Yeah,
For sure.
I
That's
gotta
a great
go with
call out.
Alien better. In recent watch on both of them, like Aliens. better.
But I agree with Nick. I think someone could make the argument
Yeah.
that Aliens is better. Yeah,
I can
for
see it.
sure.
I got 2 honorable mentions.
go for it. Hit me.
When you mentioned this category, I came up with 4 immediately. 2 were already on your list.
What were the 2? Terminator 2 and what was the other one?
Terminator 2 and what was the other one? Dang it. Paddington 2.
Nice. Yeah.
And then these 2, I don't know if they're hot takes. I feel like they are. Toy Story 2. I feel is
That
better
was another one
than
that
the
first.
Yeah, that's arguable for sure.
I like the original better than 2.
I just
2 is
love-
the worst one of the franchise.
Oh my god.
goodness.
Ben,
Great,
that's
now that's a hot take.
That's a hot take.
That's a hot take.
Hit the thing.
Hot take alert.
Ben, that is a very hot take because a lot of people consider 2 the best of the 4.
Yeah, there's 4.
Yeah, I
There's
think
about
2
to be
is
5.
But
But
I
brilliant,
think it's
beautiful.
the weakest of the 4. But I think I could see myself being wrong there.
Yeah, and
What was
my
the other- did
the
you have
other
another
one was Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
I will handedly say that was a
yeah.
far greater film
Ooh.
than Blade Runner. The first one.
about-
I know that's hot. I've had arguments with people about
now,
it.
which Blade Runner are you talking about? The director's cut or the theatrical cut? Because there's a
know.
big
They are
difference.
very
Well,
different.
you should
Not
know
the-
because there's a big
the
difference between the
non-
two movies. The one that has narration or not?
The one without narration.
The one without narration is the one I've seen
Is the better
multiple
one.
times. Is the better one,
Yeah.
I think. But I need to rewatch the one with narration. I've only seen it once years and years ago. But
Well,
2049,
very different movies.
2049 is a beautiful, brilliant film, I thought.
yeah, I agree.
Um,
what about Dune 2?
It's just the same. It's not a leap. Well, it's a really good movie.
Yeah.
I liked it better than the first one, just barely.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like it belonged on the list because
Yeah, a lot of these seem leaps and bounds above
Right.
sometimes.
Well, and I also feel like it's more of like a Kill Bill 1, Kill Bill 2 type of deal. Like Like
Fuck
I feel
those
like
films.
Denis made the first one with the second one in mind, and it's like it's almost like saying like The Two Towers is better than Fellowship. It's like, well, it is a different movie, but to me, it's all the same. Like so I don't know. I just, for the record, I think that Blade Runner is one of the most important and long lasting get better with age movies ever. And as much as I love Denis Villeneuve, he's one of my favorite directors, and he made a great movie. It does not beat the original. The original Blade Runner.
You got to watch the final cut or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, is that what I need to watch for sure?
Because
Okay.
that
On
one
recent
does not
watch,
have narration.
I just don't understand how
and it's much better.
wait, which one? The one without narration?
But the director's cut, the final cut,
there's three different main versions.
has no narration, right? I'm right
Yeah,
about that,
yeah.
right? Yeah. That's the one you want to watch.
I'm pretty sure that's the one I watched.
Yeah. Well, there's also one. There's the original theatrical release, and there's like three versions. Anyway, we're getting semantic here. I just want to say that I when I watch Blade Runner, and then I look at the year it came out. First of all, it's timeless, and second of all, the vision that the director had to have to make that, I don't understand it. I think it was more visionary than Star Wars. And that's coming from a lifelong Star Wars fan. I mean, I don't know how he had the vision to make that movie. I still don't understand it. It's like he made a pact with the devil. Like, I don't know. How did you know that this movie would still hold up like 30, 40 years later? I don't get it. It's just it's like voodoo magic, that movie. So can't agree that 2049 is better. I think they're both amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thanks for joining me in Brian's corner, guys. I feel like it's just become a block party, and we're all hanging out forever. Get the fuck out. Go home.
We haven't talked about Top Gun in some time. It's been like
The
half an
movie's
hour.
almost over.
So, guys, we're not going to do the whole thing tonight. We're going to hot pocket it, and we're going to do it right now. Hot pocket. That's
Boom.
right.
Let's go.
We're in the hot pocket.
Who are we?
It's a new leaf. It's a new leaf. It's Hot Pocket.
Yeah.
That's what it
Hot
is.
Pocket.
And I guess the real question is it a 4-cheese pizza Hot Pocket or just the ham and cheese? I don't know. We're going to find out right now.
Well, you guys, I've got four cheese pizza Hot Pockets in my freezer right now, and if April was here tonight, she was going to serve them to us. So it's fortuitous that you called out the exact flavor that I own at this very moment.
4 cheese. Well, it's a good flavor. It's a good flavor.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to start with the music, guys. The music in this film,
I'm glad we're finally talking about that.
Yeah.
the best.
Yep.
When even from the very start, when Top Gun, when they drop the credit, it says Top Gun on the screen, right, and that bell, dung, and it shivers. Oh, it's just absolutely. And then you just break into Danger Zone, and there's just so much good music in this movie, guys. It's so 80s, it's so vibey.
Perfect.
And I think it's 10 out of 10.
Can we ask real quick, what's the best Kenny Loggins movie song? Is it I'm All Right from Caddyshack? Is it Footloose from Footloose? Is it Danger Zone from Top Gun? Or is it Meet Me Halfway Across the Sky from Over the Top?
I think it's Danger Zone.
It is Danger Zone.
Is it?
Yeah.
You guys are all
I
just going
think
Danger Zone.
I
Not
immediately
Footloose?
think of his name in this song. I don't immediately think of his name in those other songs, even though I know them and they're classics.
Yeah, I don't think Kenny Loggins rings with those other ones, but every time you hear Danger Zone, you're
I think it's
because
because
Kenny Loggins.
I think it's 'cause my mom listened to him when I growing up. Maybe I knew all that.
Got-
Yeah, it's
got the
Danger Zone.
records.
But he's a movie song guy.
Yeah, like Trent Reznor.
He's got a pedigree. Yeah.
Trent Reznor's fucking killing it.
Well, yeah.
Well,
yeah,
he's a genius.
He's also like a composer now, so he's amazing.
And so the opening of this movie, guys, too, also, I mean, this opening is so good. The way this movie opens, the fog and the planes and that filters we've talked about. I mean, I have to say, like, it sets the tone so well. And last night, that really hit for me. I had the volume cranked up, big screen TV, just kick about. I was like, I really was impressed. It impressed me. It felt big. And like you said, blockbuster, right? This really kind of defined it. Action blockbuster
Just
in a lot of ways.
These machines just taking off from this aircraft carrier. It's like, I don't know how they made all this shit, but it's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
like,
amazing.
Jesus.
The shots were also the scale, like showing the men on the deck, just like working and like pulling, like it's just.
And the sound design was really good too.
Sound
Yeah.
excellent.
Those afterburners and all that.
That $2 million was well spent
I
on
don't
just
know what
that
an
one
afterburner
carrier
is, but-
shot.
That's crazy. Say that again. $2 How much millions?
Just shy. $1.8 million was spent on just the carrier shot, and that
Did
was
you say $1 million?
1.8. Sorry, 1.8 million was spent on just the carrier because
And
that's
the budget's 15.
budget's 15.
Holy.
Yeah. So $2 million was
mad respect.
That's why it felt repetitive when you looked at it. It was that the same sunrise sunset shot
Yeah.
of the carrier. It's because they only had it for that one bit.
I respect it.
A lot of tidy whities in this movie.
Ben, I had a thought.
Yeah.
I had a thought. There's a lot of high-fiving, gum chewing, and tidy whities in this movie.
Yeah. So remember that scene where he's like got one leg up and he's wearing a towel and he's right next to Goose and he's getting roasted by Iceman. You're like, what? Why are you standing like that?
Talk dirty to me.
Honestly, a lot of the reason those guys are standing in those ways, I noticed this in the locker room, was so they could flex.
Oh, yeah.
They'd be like leaning on something or like pushing really hard on something so they could just like get that try popping, you know? So, Brian, we got to get right into it. Fair bit of kissing in this movie. Kissing?
I don't care. I don't care.
Kiss, I know you don't care, but
about kissing?
but kissing ratings? Can you rate?
I do have now a new IDCAK score that I give each movie. I don't care about kissing. The IDCAK score for Top Gun, it's a 7 out of 10. Guys, we got some
Really?
We got some
Whoa.
time. Kelly
Yeah,
McGillis,
there's some
she don't
time.
know how to act. She know how to French kiss. Her and Tom Cruise had a nice steamy makeout session, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done, and it was pretty intense. If I cared about kissing, that is.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care about
I
kissing.
don't care about kissing.
I don't care. I saw it, just noticed it, but wrote down 7. I don't know.
I thought the kissing was not that great.
I thought it was
Honestly,
pretty good.
I thought it was like 4.
You need to go back and watch Roadhouse again, and that's going to bump that rating right up to a 7.
That's just unfair.
I don't know. There was like a silhouette shot where he like sticks his tongue into her mouth.
Yeah, that's good
And-
stuff.
It looks like a lizard licking its food. It's like, blah.
Yeah. It's not hot.
It's not.
It's like it's just
If I cared,
Yeah.
it let's put it this way, it rang true.
Yeah. So give me the scale. So if a 10 is you care about kissing,
No, I never care about kissing.
You don't
I just look at it,
You don't
and
care
I
about
know
kissing.
other people care. Other people, let's go make out. Oh, we're teenagers. Yeah. So I don't know. I think what the score comes from how authentic is it? How it's a chemistry thing, right?
Okay.
In Roadhouse, that chick, she was like a mannequin. Patrick Swayze's trying to kiss this wooden doll. It's like she didn't know how to kiss. It's like she hadn't kissed before.
you
Kelly
don't
McGillis has
care about it.
I'm
you don't
I'm
care.
saying,
You
I
don't
don't care
care.
about kissing.
This feels like a new segment to me.
I don't care.
I feel like we're gonna we got a couple new segments.
IDCAK
Pop off
score
here.
of 7. Let's just
Okay.
note that.
Okay, good. Glad
Yeah.
we got that out of the way. I want to talk about call signs
Mm.
because that's it's an important topic. It's a hot topic, and I think we're going to start with. Let's talk about who had the coolest call sign in
Did
this
you just
movie.
say hot topic?
Burning down hot topic.
Can that be another name for this segment? Hot topic.
It could be. It could be.
I
my
like Hot
soundboard's
Topic.
just going to be all sounds of like
Yeah.
brands that we've confused.
Yeah, let's talk about it, Nick. Let's talk about the call signs.
Well, I have a short list here. I'm just giving you the short list of the 7 what I thought were the coolest call signs.
I've got the 4 coolest, so we'll see how it
Oh man,
matches
I
up
wonder
with
if you
your
got
7.
anything that's not on my list.
Are you talking about? You're talking about from this movie, right?
From this film.
Oh, it's the 4. It's the 4 most prominent. You'll know what they are. Yeah.
Okay, so obviously we've got the gimmies, Maverick and Iceman.
Mm-hmm.
Core. Okay, Viper.
Yep. Absolutely.
Viper's the only one I had.
Viper. By the way, guys, that's the best call sign, and he's also the best pilot in this fucking movie.
It's a good call sign.
Great
I don't think
call
it's my
sign.
favorite, but it's a good one. Slider.
Yum.
That's
Yeah.
that's the call sign.
White Castle.
That's Kelly
Yeah.
McGillis' tongue's call sign.
Yeah, you kind of think about sliding
Don't
into
care about
those-
kissing.
sliding into the DMs. He's sliding. It's
Slide
not
into
as-
the DMs. Yeah.
Not as good. Jester.
Jester. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
I like Jester. Wolfman.
I like Wolfman.
I'm a fan.
I like Wolfman.
Fan of
That's
Wolfman.
really good.
Fan, a big
That's good.
fan. You want to be known as Wolfman in the skies.
Yeah, that's
I feel
pretty cool.
That's a good one. Hollywood.
It's a little Mortal Kombat-y, a little Street Fighter-y.
Little Johnny Cage.
Yeah, a little Johnny Cagey.
Yeah. That's what I got.
Which isn't a bad thing. I think Goose. I love Goose. I think that's
too.
a great call sign. That's one you didn't say. I don't know. I think it's. I don't know. I maybe it's
it's
because
great for the character,
Okay,
but it's a
you're right.
horrible call sign.
You're right, Nick. I
There's
got
a clunker.
I've
flying out there.
conflated things here. I
Yeah.
love Goose in this movie. He's like my favorite part of the movie. And maybe that's why I said
It's the
that
perfect
I like
name
that.
for the character.
But Goose, yeah, that's not good. It's
Not
like
a
Bob
good call
in Top Gun Maverick. Bob, there's a guy named he's got Bob.
Yeah,
It's like
Bob.
Yeah,
really
like you're up there flying an F-14, and someone's like, "Hey, Goose."
Hey,
you're
who-
like, "Yeah, that's not who I want watching my six."
who's got the best call sign in Top Gun Maverick?
Whoa.
I don't know. Bob was pretty great. B.O.B. Do you know what it stands for?
What?
He was a weapons specialist.
Yeah.
B.O.B. Bombs on board.
big old butt?
Okay.
That's
pretty
kinda cool,
cool.
you
But
know?
it's not as cool as Hangman.
Hangman's
It's
pretty
fucking
great.
the best call sign out there.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Well,
What about?
guys,
Would you rather be rooster or goose? Because roosters don't even fly.
I'd rather be rooster because a rooster
Fuck some shit up.
He knows what's up.
A cock.
Yeah, he's a cock. Exactly.
Don't go about
Guys,
kissing.
here's my question. I want you to compare these aliases. There's
Well,
two.
wait, hang on. We didn't answer the question.
Well, I'm still talking about call
Oh,
signs.
sorry.
here.
Okay, I just want to know what the coolest one was.
Oh,
Viper.
what's the coolest one?
Viper.
Viper. Is that what you're going?
I
Hands
think,
down.
For me, it's Viper.
Okay.
It's Hangman and Maverick. It's Viper in this.
Okay. I'm going with Iceman. I think Iceman's the coolest.
Okay.
I think Iceman's the coolest.
Yeah. Chris?
It's Viper for sure.
Viper. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting, by the way, at the end in the credits, I don't know if you noticed, but when they're showing the people in their call sign, they show Tom Cruise and then they show Maverick underneath it. I want you to notice when they show Val Kilmer, do you know what his call sign is? It's not Iceman. It's just ice.
Huh.
Oh,
Interesting.
Pay attention. Pay attention.
even cooler.
Yeah, even cooler. Like it.
Real quick, guys, I just want you to compare these four aliases with another movie's four aliases, okay? Top Gun, we've got Maverick, Iceman, Goose, and Viper, kind of the main four call signs. What about the aliases in The Matrix? Morpheus, Neo, Trinity, and Cypher. Whoa. What are the cooler names? Morpheus, Neo, Trinity, Cypher, or Maverick, Iceman, Goose, and Viper?
Maverick, Iceman,
Yeah. Top Gun.
Top Gun.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you guys that's your answer?
We all immediately said it.
Morpheus
Brian.
just isn't that cool of a name, I don't think. I mean, it's like good for the character, but it's like Morpheus. I don't know, what does that mean? Like that.
It's just like Morpheus.
Morpheus. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, what are we doing?
It's definitely a 4 cheese pizza.
A lot
Hot
of good,
Pocket.
lot of
That's
good
where we're at.
mustaches in this
We're
movie.
absolutely in a
a
4
lot of good
cheese.
stashes. Maybe a garlic butter crust
Yeah.
pepperoni.
We're not in a lean pocket.
Yeah, no.
Definitely not
ain't-
in a lean pocket.
No,
Lean
we're
pocket,
never
you couldn't-
hitting lean.
Do you remember
Amy.
lean pocket? You remember you eat a lean pocket and you'd be like, "What
Yeah.
the?"
I
Or
know.
a healthy choice.
Yeah. Oh,
pocket.
healthy
Healthy
choice.
choice,
Yeah,
that's
the
it.
green box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I want a
No
red
good.
box.
Green means healthy.
Give me a red.
Red means danger.
Red means carcinogen.
Anybody play the Nintendo Top Gun game?
No.
No one played it? The
No.
arcade or Nintendo? No one
I
played
have
it.
not.
Wow.
Didn't know that existed.
Okay. Well,
Sorry.
I had a whole segment on this, but we'll just keep going.
I'm sure our savvy listeners have played it.
Yeah, well, there's a kind of a the
Sorry,
game
did I say
starts,
plural? Was that plural? I meant singular.
Yeah, you know the deal.
Oh, one of them.
Anyways, I will say what I was going to say.
Yeah,
for our
please do.
listener.
I actually
Do
want
it.
you to.
So the game is sort of infamous because it starts with this aircraft carrier landing sequence that's incredibly impossible to do. Like you just can't. Like it's hard to even play this game. It's like one of those games. It's like Nintendo hard. You know
There's a
what I mean?
lot of games like that.
Yeah. So it's just funny. There's and that's kind of how and it's kind of authentic to the movie because that's kind of how this the landing on the aircraft carrier, and it's hard for that guy too. So maybe it's actually a pretty accurate.
So it's intentional.
Game, but anyways, we'll just keep moving here because no one played video games as a child.
Lean pocket.
Yeah, that's a lean pocket for sure.
That was a lean pocket. Thanks a lot.
Don't you
Damn
thank
it.
me for
Can we
that?
get back to a meatball hot pocket real quick?
Hey, sorry you didn't have that on Nintendo. Okay, dogfighting. That's just cool. Not real dogfighting. That's not cool.
Not cool. Yeah.
Not cool.
Those anyone
As a
that does
vegan,
that
I cannot
needs to be
even
just
joke about that.
fucking killed. But
Yep.
playing dogfighting,
Cool.
real cool.
Super cool.
How cool. And what's also cool about it is like this is like the end of dogfighting, which is kind of a cool thing about this movie that I think actually in a way elevates this movie, hot take, above Maverick, right? Because
Ooh.
it has this dogfighting angle that Maverick doesn't really have because Maverick isn't really or when that movie takes place, it's not really a thing anymore. And kind of at the, in the 80s, 70s, 80s, in kind of the Cold War era, that would have been kind of like the last time, any of these kind of encounters would have really happened ever. So I think that is just very cool because just dogfighting, the whole idea is just fucking crazy. You're just flying at someone head on in a fucking plane shooting guns.
Would the heyday of dogfighting be World War I?
I mean, I think that both world wars had a lot of serious. Vietnam had a lot of dogfighting.
Vietnam was huge.
Okay.
Yeah, Korea had a lot of dogfighting.
Why do they call it dogfighting?
Because you're just
one-on-one.
Just a bunch of dogs up there in the air.
Yeah,
It
just
doesn't
going
make,
at
it
it.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, junkyard dogs.
Yeah, but that's what. But I believe it like really started.
I
with
love the
World,
name.
Yeah,
I'm
World
just-
War One.
yeah.
Was like Baron von Richthofen. The kind of ultimate dog
Yeah,
fighter. But
yeah.
anyways, that's just such a cool the subject matter.
I
Dog
agree.
fighting. How boss is that? It's like you're just flying in the middle of the sky in these $1 million plane, just blasting hot lead at each other. It's fucking crazy.
Probably because nobody can help or save you in that moment. Like just like a real dog. Like there's nothing that can stop it.
It's like
just
you're so elite. There's like
Yeah, right.
13
To get in that
people
position.
who are all in this fight. That all of us mere mortals can just look at it and go, whoa, what are they? Whoa, these trained, like the G forces they're taking and like the stuff they're
You're
doing,
going like
and,
Mach 2.
and their lives
blasting
are at stake.
missiles.
Yeah, it's kind of the most fucking awesome thing that exists.
It kind of thank you.
Like I'm just now realizing how cool planes are.
Thank you. This is,
They're
this is
so
why I'm giving this
cool.
movie an 82.
I'm so in for this.
These
I
guys
just-
are flying. Like
I wasn't ready for this
Mach
till
2,
now,
man.
Nick.
Boom, boom.
Now, did we
yeah,
talk
I'm
about,
ready for it now.
It's cool.
Yeah.
No, we're going to talk about after this of how many in-air kills he got.
Yeah, you got a fair bit.
Do we know how many he got in the film?
No.
3.
3.
Sounds
Yep,
right.
he
yeah.
got 3.
Which is unfucking
Hey,
believable.
I told you I went back and watched Act 3 intentionally. I wouldn't have known the answer to that if I didn't do that.
Unbelievable.
It was really good.
That's an insane amount.
Yeah.
Like people don't get those in their lifetime, let alone in an afternoon.
I love how we're like talking like, oh, he's so cool. He's like a fucking fictional character.
He is
Do you
cool,
guys
though.
know how many people
Pete Mitchell,
Luke
you know-
Skywalker killed with his lightsaber? 30. That's 30 more than anyone else.
It's 31
ever.
and a- 31 and a half.
What's
real
another
life.
good dogfight movie?
Dunkirk? Well, it's got some stuff in it.
Dunkirk's
Yeah.
pretty solid.
I
I mean, Maverick, obviously.
do
like,
anybody ever see the George Lucas Flying Aces? Is that what? Red Tails? Red Tails?
Oh, yeah, Red
Didn't he
Tails.
do? Was that a dog?
I've not seen that yet. No.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I'm not
How
recommending.
about
it.
fucking Star Wars?
Star Wars
Wars,
number
yeah.
1 is maybe the best.
Yeah, Star Wars has a great dogfight.
So good.
There's a Apple TV show with what's it called?
Austin
Sons of the
Butler
Air or
and-
something.
Yeah.
Austin Butler is in it, and it has a lot of dogfighting. It's all about the pilots of World War One.
2. I think
Two?
it's 2. Yeah.
It's funny because all the best dogfights that my brain's generating are all from the Star Wars universe. Like there's
a lot of great ones. Yeah.
and you can tell he was inspired by movies and shows that I probably haven't seen. You know what I mean? So
Right.
Nice.
Speaking of planes and dogfighting, by the way, another thing I liked about this movie that surprised me, there was not a plane that was exploded by a missile in this movie until an hour and 30 in.
Yeah, yeah.
Which the movie's only like an hour 48. So like only like at the tail end of this movie was in my memory or just kind of what I assumed this movie was just a whole bunch of planes shooting other planes down, and it's not.
Yeah, the stakes were the highest at the end.
Yeah.
which is
It's
the way it should be.
again, most of this movie takes place on the ground with characters and stakes and arcs and everything like that, and then you get this plane towards the end. So I liked that about the movie.
So let's get into a real beef taco hot pocket here. How would singing "You've Lost That Lovin' Feelin'" to a random woman at a bar really go? How would that
Not
really
like
go?
not like it in, not like the movie.
How would following that same woman into the bathroom, the women's
The
bathroom,
ladies' room, it just goes right in.
from the woman's point of view, how would that really go?
Not great.
Not the way it went. Well, he's Tom Cruise though.
She had a
I feel
thing
like
for him. She had the
pepper
hots for him.
spray or tasers.
Yeah.
would
I
be
think he would have
involved.
been tasered
Yeah.
in today's.
And she's like, "You just want to do it right here."
And he tests that counter strength. He's like, well, maybe we could just.
It's just kind of a very absurd sequence of events.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Creepy at best. I have to say, Kelly McGillis as the kind of the reveal as her as the consultant or whatever. That's nice. It was. I thought
Yeah,
it was a nice,
I liked it.
nice turn.
Nice turn, executed poorly.
Why?
Really? Why?
Because she was just standing there. You're in a hangar, and you only see your lieutenant and then her just turned around in this huge open space. And they had this, they're just joking back and forth, and you have the guy just speaking about this new chick that's going to take over, and she just does the quick hairpan as she turns around, and they're like,
she walks in.
She walks
did
in.
she walk
It
in?
shows
I just
her
saw
legs.
the. I just maybe I
She
missed
show her
that.
legs.
She's not. They actually do the establishing shots, like the wide shots of where they're all sitting in the hangar. Which, by the way, I loved that scene. That was a really cool shot of like the hangar.
Yeah, that was
I want to
cool.
be there. I want to go.
But
to
also,
there.
like, why are you putting
But she turned
the desk
around.
right there?
I know it was weird that they had. The
But she
desk
turned
there.
around. I remember
No,
seeing that scene.
She
right?
does, but
It's the two people. It's like Michael Ironside and the other guy up front, maybe,
Yeah.
and then like they're talking and stuff, and then she comes walking up. And
Comes
it's a
from
cool shot.
behind,
It shows
maybe.
like
Yeah.
it shows her high heels and her like stockings like
okay.
as she's walking. And when she
then
gets up there and turns, I love the scene where Goose takes his glasses off, and Tom Cruise is like, "Oh shit!" Like it's classic. I like it. It's a great reveal. I'll take it all day long.
And here, moving on to another brief hot pocket, maybe a Philly steak. My favorite quote in the whole.
I like the Philly steak ones, by the way.
Yeah, it's
Green
heavy.
pepper.
It's real heavy.
A little green pepper in there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
green pepper.
Probably my favorite quote in the whole movie from that scene, because I was inverted.
Oh
No,
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I fucking love that quote.
Okay,
Because I was
much.
inverted.
Okay, Nick, I'm glad you brought that up because that movie gave me chill. That line gave me chills.
It's
Because
so
it was
good.
so fucking badass.
and the way
that's
he
it.
does a little hand motion, he's like, "Because I was
I
inverted."
was inverted. Yeah, and everyone was like, "Yeah, right." Like they give you this. They give you how cool that was because we saw it happen, and we don't know. We are not pilots. We don't know how cool that was that he did. I mean, it looked cool, but we don't. It's cool because at that point they exposit how risky that was and how
Yeah,
badass
yeah.
he is for having done that.
Yeah.
and the way he delivers that because I was inverted.
That line was so huge. Like with me and my friends in high school, I'd be like, "Dude, like, why were you late for the bus today?" Because I was inverted, man.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like
That was a great
dude,
line.
We used to use that line.
I
all
think
the
my
time.
favorite line of the movie was, "This is a target-rich environment," but
Same.
but the coolest line is because I want to be in a room full of the most elite people in the world, and I want the person up front to like challenge me on something, and I want to have this is my dream, this is my fantasy. If I had a wish, if I had 3 wishes, this is one of those wishes. Is if that person could challenge me and everyone in the room turns to me and I can say something like that. What does that say about me?
Do you have that in the dev world? Is there a moment you can have in the developer world that you could have that?
Yeah.
Is there something?
You got the CEO.
I just loved it because he took the Polaroid. He stopped for a minute and he goes,
Yeah, Polaroid was good.
"This is a great shot, Mav. I should be a photographer."
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like, oh my God.
Great line, Nick. Great line.
Also, the switching to guns, too close for missiles. Switching to guns.
What about it?
I say that line is stuck in my head forever.
You know that's not real, and that where it's like the switch that he hits, they made that just for the film, where it
Yeah,
said
really?
like guns and missiles, and there was just a switch that went from one to the other. That was
Feels
just
like it
for
would be easy
theatrical
No, that
to
wouldn't
sake.
make a whole lot of sense.
No, it wouldn't,
I
but it
mean,
was just a
yeah.
great piece to look at. You're
I
like,
don't know. I don't know what's real.
but there's
and
just like
what's
I mean,
tape,
yeah,
and
I'm
it's
buying
written. Yeah.
All right. Steak nacho.
not. Okay. All right.
Let's-
I'm
let's see
getting
what's up.
hungry.
Yeah,
What's up
this
next?
is getting heavy.
How about Iceman? Let's talk a little Iceman. Not as rude as I remember, or nearly as bad.
I know,
Actually, he was kind of more of the moderate, like sensible guy.
Yeah.
And Maverick was kind of the dick.
I agree. They could have gone over the top with him, and they didn't. They
Yeah.
kind of kept him like sensible.
Yeah, Iceman wants safety.
Yeah.
He wants
guys
to do it
confused?
by the book.
Are you confused by this?
I am because knowing about Top Gun growing up, what I knew about it was planes and Val Kilmer versus Tom Cruise. Like that was my understanding was like, and there's like the classic sort of stills of the movie where it's them facing off and everybody's like behind them and it's like, you know, they're against each other and Val Kilmer's the villain in my mind as a kid growing up.
Right.
Seeing this movie, I'm thinking Val Kilmer's the villain. He's not the villain.
No,
he
not at
just
all.
doesn't want this crazy guy.
Yeah, this lunatic.
who fucking has like 10 infractions and somehow still gets to go into Top Gun and do this
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I love that sort of, you know,
I do
misconception.
love it. Maybe I just saw this too late in life to realize, oh, yeah, Iceman is the cool, calm, collected one that's always doing it
Yeah,
by the book.
Iceman is not how I remember. Because
No.
I remember him being pure antagonist.
Yep.
And no,
Yep.
he's actually
Maybe
like,
that's how they had it in trailers or promotions. They made him out to be the bad guy.
It must have
Yeah.
been because for that to be my impression. Yeah.
Oh, I lied, actually. There's a quote I like more than because I was inverted.
Ooh, what is it?
It's the angry admiral when he goes, "I want some butts."
Is that Strickland? Or is that
Strickland?
Viper?
No, it's Strickland, right?
Okay, yeah. Did we talk about him? The guy from Back to the Future.
So good.
Mr.
I
Strickland?
love him.
He's so good.
Anytime that man is on screen, I am so invested in what's happening. I love Strickland.
Yeah, I agree.
Whatever his name is, I should know his name.
Here, I'll throw another quote out. I thought this was just a good piece of dialogue that really helped define the character when Maverick says, "When I see something, I go right after it." And that was early on, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, really defines how he approaches everything in life, you know, relationships, motorcycle riding, flying, so I like
And I think
that.
that's a really crucial part of his his arc too, because like he says that and that's how he behaves, but then when Goose dies, he completely loses all his mojo. And it takes a while for him to get it back.
Yeah.
He goes up and does the maneuver and loses the wingman and can't execute, and then they think he's not going to be able to execute when they're actually in real stake stuff in the third act, and then he finally engages. I think it's a good juxtaposition to have a character that's that cocky and that sure of himself to then go through this thing with Goose and then have to get his mojo back. And to me, that's the heart of it. I talk about kernels of movies. To me, that's the kernel of this movie.
And I think it's a great callback to the opening scene where they have that guy that has a complete meltdown and he just quits.
Oh,
he
right.
throws
Yeah.
this thing out and he's like, oh, gee. And then Maverick's looking at him like, what the fuck is wrong
the guy
with this
who
guy?
looks like a young Harry Connick Jr.
Yeah.
All right, one more quote. Slider, you stink.
Yeah. Tom Maverick says that to Slider.
He does.
And then he checks his armpit, right?
I know.
Yeah, they're in the
It's
classroom.
such a nice burn because he thinks he's burnt. It's such. I actually really love that little sequence because he thinks he's getting shut down by old girl Kelly McGillis, but actually she just gave him this note that says "Meet me for dinner."
Yeah.
So he thinks
Slider
he's
doesn't
talking
know it.
shit.
Yeah.
So Slider's talking shit, and Maverick's just like, "Yeah, you stink."
That's great, man.
It's just
That's
it's
so
brilliant.
good.
All right, guys. Now is time. I would just call it maybe the chicken and broccoli. This might be the chicken and broccoli.
Okay.
I guess.
Or we're not in lean pocket territory, are we?
No.
Okay.
No. Please, I hope not. Not for this one.
Chicken
Not
and
for this
broccoli.
one.
Okay.
Because we're talking volleyball. We're talking volleyball.
Okay, let's talk volleyball.
Yeah, let's do it. How is everyone's gaydar going on this one? Because that's a kind of a thing for this movie. A lot of people think this scene is like kind of homoerotic, and I can see where that's coming from. Doesn't seem all that gay to me though, honestly. But I've heard that before. People say, I mean, it's a bunch of sweaty guys and smacking a ball around. I don't know.
I think similar to how Iceman being the villain was my misconception, this being a super homoerotic scene was also somewhat of a misconception. I think it's much more tame and subdued than I thought.
Yeah, it's really not.
I will say that the high five up top down low happening 4 times. It's a little that's getting there. That's got
so
there
here's
for
the
me.
thing. So Iceman and his guy, they're handsy.
Yeah, Slider and Iceman.
Yeah, Slider and Iceman are handsy, and I can see why there's a little.
There's
bit
a couple of hugs and some whatever.
These guys are going into battle together. It's like.
But Gris, do we do that when we're playing Ultimate Frisbee and we're both
I mean, we do some good high fives. We should probably bring in the double high five.
I know, but we're not hugging each other.
You do a lot of jumps and chest bumps.
I don't
and
take
stuff.
it. We don't ever do. Have we ever done a chest bump?
No. Should we bring it back?
I mean, I'll do it.
Should we
if
bring
you
it
want.
in?
I mean,
we
I don't
probably
care.
should.
I don't care about chest bumps, but
I
if
mean, we're
you
pretty
want me
sweaty
to,
out
I'll-
there, but we should bring it in to the game.
Again, so I say that in jest, but also to be real. We're great friends and we do a sweaty activity together, and we're not hugging each other. So yeah, it's a little.
Yeah, and also
bodily
guys
fluids
also shirtless?
smashing against each other.
You guys
It's
play
tough.
shirtless and hug?
It's probably because Gris is grossed out by how sweaty I get.
Multi shirts,
let's
multi
be
towels.
I have
It's
to say,
heavy.
in that scene, the way Tom Cruise checks his watch is the cool. I've never seen someone check a watch in a cooler way.
How does he check it?
He kind of holds it really kind of high up and looks at and tweaks it a little bit, almost like he's doing a little messing with the
So
dial.
he doesn't look down. He brings the
brings it right
arm
up.
He arches the whole arm up.
That's a very 80s, 90s thing to do.
It's real boss. Also, another boss shot in that scene is Iceman spinning the ball on his finger, like a basketball.
Yeah, baby.
What's a better high five than that?
Ooh, I like this. It's like my flip-off question. What's the best flip-off? What's the best high five?
I have one that comes to mind. And it is the Rocky Apollo high five, where he goes.
Yeah.
Oh,
totally.
is that a high five?
Did you just do they clasp hands?
No, they
Well,
do.
it's a
They do this.
slap.
They like
Okay.
smack side by side.
Yeah, it's like one of the right. It's
Yeah.
like a,
Can
it's
we
kind of a high
That's a
Include-
dab. Dab. Is that the word the kids say?
No,
Dap.
well,
Dap?
Yeah.
Dab? Dab?
With a P.
Dap.
well, I think this is all pretty
Like
sus.
dap
Can
it
someone
up.
talk about what that means?
What? Dapping it up?
No, there's a high five where you're up in the air, but a dap is like you go in like from a side angle. So your hand is down towards your face or below your neck.
I knew that.
And,
Okay.
and the best one of those is Predator, of course.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best.
There's a sonic boom from that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fucking legendary.
but we're not counting that in high fives, though,
No.
are we?
No.
Okay. I can't think of all the high fives, to be honest. There's probably a better one. I think I'm going to say yes, there's a better one.
I feel like Rush Hour has a really great high five.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's got to be.
I'm trying to
If I can't think of it and I think of this movie instead, that's a hard sell to say it's that one.
Well, I don't. I'm trying.
I get it. I get it.
Gotta give it credit. It's Top Gun.
I can't think of one.
I feel like from this point forward, I'm never going to high five another person for the rest of my life.
Oh, we're gonna high
I've
five
just
next,
become anti high five.
next Monday. We're gonna high five.
I'm not high fiving you.
I'm a fist bumper.
I'm going.
I'll bump
Either
your
I'm
fist
gonna
all day.
smack you on the ass, or I'm gonna chest bump you without you knowing, or I'm gonna do something.
Or he's going to smack you on the ass without knowing.
You guys, we're a hot pocket inside of a pizza roll, inside of a hot pocket, inside of a lean pocket, inside of a simulation.
This is a real white meat chicken bacon.
Ooh.
My God.
What's this one going to be?
Uh,
You better back that up.
ham and cheese.
Chicken bacon ranch.
There's not that many more flavors, guys. I'm
Cheeseburger.
getting to the end here. This is critical mass.
He's actually looking at a blank notebook right now. He's flipping pages. There's nothing on him.
Let's talk motorbikes.
Moto.
You guys like motorbikes? Because Tom does.
He sure does, doesn't he?
And
Tom's got a killer
there's
scene on that bike.
There's actually, I don't know how much you guys know about the bike in this film.
I don't know anything.
It looks like a Kawasaki.
It is indeed a Kawasaki. It's a GPZ 900R,
Okay.
which is better known these days as
Crotch rocket.
no,
I mean, yeah,
as
technically, but
the Ninja.
Oh,
It
okay.
was a Kawasaki Ninja.
so it
Kawasaki
changed
Ninja.
into the Ninja.
Correct. So Tom Cruise basically, which is to this day, Kawasaki's making ninjas.
Wow.
And they're fucking badass.
How
So
much is how much is because of this film, do you think?
I think this film really was a big deal
Wow.
for Kawasaki ninjas. Like I think this movie really made that bike a big deal, and you can buy it.
So it's like a
many
lot of
years
young
later.
men were like, can I buy an F-14? No. Okay. Take
What's the
that
next?
Kawasaki.
What's the next
I'll
best
take
thing?
the Ninja. That's the next best thing.
What would be the thing you would take from this movie?
The thing I would take?
F-14.
The F-14.
Not a chance in hell. that
Aircraft
Zeppelin-
carrier, actually. No, scratch that.
No.
I would take
Aircraft carrier seems a
Bike.
little too big.
Well, you get some people to run
the
it
bike
for you.
or his love
Sell
interest
it.
car.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a pretty
That was a
slick
pretty
car.
sweet car.
And she'd always ride it like the wheels are. Oh, it's like
Yeah.
God. She's
She
driving
drove
like
it
hell.
fast.
Yeah, she did.
That's why
So
she-
I'll go back one. It's the watch that he's wearing the whole movie. There's only 2 watches that I gave a shit about in this film.
Yeah. What are they?
You want to hear them?
Yeah.
Yeah, watch talk.
Watch
Or-
talk. Well, I mean, it is a watch. This is a weird one. I've looked it up a couple times to see how much they are. It's Porsche Design Chronograph 1 by Orfina. So this watch is outrageously rare, and it was created by Ferdinand Alexander Porsche, who's the third generation of the Porsche car designs. He wasn't a huge car guy, like car design guy, but he loved design in general. So he made his own design company, and he built this watch, and that was the only one he made in 1972. And so they featured it in this film,
Wow.
and they go for $3,000 to $5,000 now on eBay. So if you want to own a blacked out, PVD coated, fucking badass chronograph watch that pilots would wear, that's the one. So would you spend $3,000 to $5,000 on a watch?
No.
Yeah, it's a little tough, especially this.
I
one.
wouldn't spend $300 to $500 on a watch.
Would you spend $20
I
on the
wouldn't spend-
other iconic watch in this
I
movie?
wouldn't spend $30 to $50 on a watch.
The other one is the Casio A158WA, which is what I gifted Ben for Christmas last year.
Nice.
So
$20.
worn by none other than Goose himself.
Yeah, because he's a
Classic.
dad.
Such a dad.
What a dad watch.
And then, Tom brought it back for the same film. It was the
okay.
watch of Jerry Bruckheimer, and he decided that he wanted to put it in the film, so he gave it to Tom as a gift.
That's cool.
I feel like never has there been a 10-minute segment of this podcast where I have not known anything about what we're talking about We got motorcycles. We got watches. I don't know what the hell is going on. Can we? Can I ask you guys this?
Is this what? Is this Nip Talk?
Nip talk.
Oh my God.
We're not talking about kissing.
We're not going nip talk tonight.
Oh, well, we could. There's a lot of. Sorry.
sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm shocked.
Different podcast. Different time.
Guys, how good is "Take My Breath Away"?
Hey, guys,
As
and
a
the way
song.
they cut it into some of these scenes.
Oh my
My
God.
God.
Is it not just perfect?
It's
Yeah.
such a good song. It's so perfectly placed in this movie. Oh,
I'm going to listen to it with the windows down on the way home tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I had a question. What's the better post-battle tarmac celebration? Top Gun or Star Wars?
No, Star Wars.
Star Wars.
They're both
yeah.
good.
Yeah, they're both good, but Star Wars. Is
Star Wars is good. Don't you just love somebody? Don't you just love people hugging each other just in sheer bliss because they've won a battle? They've won something.
Of course.
Hey,
What a great.
hey, what are we going to do next time we win a game together? What are we going to do?
I'm gonna
High
I'm
five.
gonna
Double
hug
high
you
five.
and jump up and down with you as we're hugging.
Oh.
We got to come up with a nice game plan for this.
But I'm not high
I
fiving.
don't want to go in for a high five and get a big old sweaty hug.
Yeah, you don't.
All right, guys. So let's go for a fiery hot pepperoni. And I think Kelly, we've done a lot of ragging on her.
I
lot of
know.
ragging.
Poor, bless her heart.
Ragging. Now, I thought she actually dropped a nice line of dialogue. And it's after that we just referenced a minute ago, that the sort of the chase, which I thought was cool. I thought it was hot. She's chasing after
I
her
like that
man.
too.
He's
Yeah.
running from her, but there's something going on behind the scenes, and no one quite knows what it is yet. And then they kind of jump out and they're kind of arguing.
And he's surprised. He's like, Jesus, like,
I know, it's
what are
like,
you doing?
lunatic. And when she just drops the, I just don't want anyone to know that I've fallen for you, right? Well, it was nice. It was
I
a
liked
nice
it.
turn.
Hey.
I thought it gave me. I mean, I thought there might be some kissing after that.
Yeah, don't care.
There was.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I like that
I thought that
scene.
was
That's
I
good.
thought that was a good scene. Nice dialogue, good chemistry in that particular scene. Now I have to ask the follow up there, and they do some kissing after that. And so, did those two? So did Kelly, whatever her name, Kelly, Charlie? Did she just that old man boyfriend she had? Did she just cheat on that old bastard?
Oh, yeah, I don't know what their relationship status was.
That poor guy.
Well, she was hanging out. You know, they clearly had a thing.
Yeah,
Facebook official.
yeah.
And
Well.
she just went home and.
Hey, she's free to do what the fuck she wants.
Well, not if she's in a relationship
Yes,
with
she
that
is.
older
Yes, she
fellow.
still is.
That older gentleman
Yeah.
has dignity and needs as well. And while we're on this topic, let's
Depends
go ahead.
on what she's promised.
Well, I don't. No one really knows.
She's her own woman.
While we're talking about all this, let's just go ahead and rate that sex scene. I know you don't.
I already
about-
I care about sex scenes. Now let me be clear. We're talking sex. That's what I care about.
Okay.
Kissing,
Sorry.
Kissing, not so much.
Kissing's only good if it's part of that scene. It was pretty good. Yeah.
6?
Yeah, I would go I mean, Enemy at the Gates being a 10.
That was last
you
episode, guys.
you really turned
I
the
would-
corner for me on that one.
Yeah, that one was a hard
love,
right.
I love that about what happened last week. That is so authentic. It's so great. I'm glad you can see the brilliance of that film.
Yep.
Or that scene. Yeah, 6. 6
Yeah,
feels
6
good.
feels right.
5.
I mean, 5.5.
Yeah, I'm going to go 5.5.
Yeah.
It's stuck right
It's
there.
shot well. You got the backlight, the blue light, you know.
Yeah, great light.
I could have
Yeah.
used a little more skin, whatever.
All right, I feel like we haven't taken Goose deep into the pocket.
No, we need to bring Goose with us.
I'm goose deep in my pocket.
Guys,
But-
Goose is so good.
He's
in this
probably the
movie.
best part of the
He's
movie.
the best part of the movie.
And he truly is the perfect counterweight to Maverick. The way he balances Maverick.
He
is-
does balance him.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
and it's just what a great character in every
They
way.
have chemistry. You don't hear chemistry a lot when it's not a guy and a girl, or it's not. I don't want to say guy and a girl. It could be guy and a guy, whatever, girl. But when it's not a love interest, right? We talk about chemistry with like romantic love, but not like hang out friend love. But they had great chemistry on set as friends. Great friend
It was
chemistry.
beautiful.
It's one of the better friendships in a movie.
I gotta say, as you have the romance in this, like the actual, Tom Cruise and the love interest, I think the heart of this film was Goose, and truly that was his love, like his passion was his best friend. Mm-hmm. I think that's what made this.
Well, there was all that kind of wingman thing going on.
Yeah.
Where he left his wingman, right? And he's like, "I'll never fucking do that again."
Yeah.
Remember, there's that scene where he's like, "I'll never do it again." He's like, and Goose is like, "I know, buddy, I know." So it's like, yeah, there's that whole dynamic. Anyways, Goose. Yeah, amazing.
R.I.P.
Well, he's
just let's talk. Well, let's while we're on the Goose, the way he just smacks that canopy. That's rough.
Kind of scary.
It kind of is.
I actually started thinking about the mechanics of like ejecting from an aircraft, and it seems so simple in your mind, like, oh, you just push a button and you go out. But can you imagine sitting, going Mach whatever in an aircraft and having to eject, which like all of a sudden pops you out the top of this thing, and now you're free falling? Like, can you imagine that experience of being ejected from aircraft?
way.
What the fuck? That's got to be the scare, because you're like you're about to die, first of all. So the context is I'm going down, and I'm also letting this $20 million thing go down as well. So you're only going to do it at the last possible moment, and then you do it. I can't imagine. I want to hear stories from people who have ejected from aircraft, like
Crazy.
legitimately. I can't imagine.
Well, Brian, let me tell you.
How is it, Ben? What's it feel like? Oh, you missed it. It was ice. I got to go back. We got to go back.
Oh, you got to rewind it.
We're watching the.
Ooh,
There was a
new
pay,
sound
pay no
effect?
pay no attention to the noise you just heard if you're watching this, listening. I mean, but yeah, eject. What are we talking about? Ejecting.
Top Gun.
Ejection.
Yeah.
I had to
Here
look
it
it
is.
up real quick. The speed at which an F-14 ejects is 450 knots, which is close to 500 miles an hour.
Like that's how fast you're ejected from that
Yeah,
thing?
apparently.
gotta be like hitting a brick wall.
0 to 450 knots, which 450 knots is about 500 miles an hour.
What are the chances that you die from the ejection? Probably.
518 miles per hour.
I mean, one of one in this movie.
It's not shooting good.
Case in point, I suppose. Yeah, jeez.
All right. Gosh, we're running thin here. Hickory ham and cheddar, I guess.
That sounds pretty good, actually.
Gosh, everyone's just sweating in this movie, right?
There's so much sweat.
Damn, there's so much sweat, and I
lot of
like
glisten.
it. I like it. I think it makes everyone sparkle,
Yeah.
and I think it had something.
Their
The sweat.
eyelashes are soaked in this movie.
Tim Robbins.
Yeah,
Merlin.
Yeah, Merlin.
Yeah, there's a lot of sweat, a lot of spritzing of sweat happening.
So the whole accident sequence, right, where the plane goes down. We just kind of talked about the ejection. The one thing I think is kind of interesting there that doesn't get brought up in the movie at all, but it's kind of Iceman's fault, right, that all happened, because Iceman wouldn't take the fucking shot. That it was the easy shot, and he was like 5 more seconds, 2 more seconds. And he just wouldn't take the shot, pulls off, and then gets Maverick burned and his partner killed, and that never a Maverick doesn't hold it against him, or doesn't, which I thought was just actually kind of interesting, because it seemed to me that Iceman actually fucked up.
And Iceman didn't have to go to that hearing and get absolved
Right.
from any
Yeah,
sort
what
of
the hell?
wrongdoing. Yeah.
Right.
Huh. Yeah.
So anyway, well, I don't have a whole lot more hot pockets here, guys.
Let me tell you. Sorry.
Oh yes, please.
Mr. Strickland is
Yeah.
named Stinger in the movie,
Ooh, I like that.
and then his real name is James Tolkien.
James Tolkien. Okay.
Tolkan.
Tolkien. I'm going to try my best to remember that because I love that dude.
Yeah.
So I just have to say, as we watch the credits roll here, I love when movies show a clip of the person's performance as part of the credits.
Oh, yeah. You mentioned that recently. This
Yeah. What was the other movie that did that?
Was it
what
anyone?
Oh,
You?
it was Burbs.
Burbs.
Was it that one?
I
Burbs
think it
does
was the
that,
Burbs.
yeah.
I
Okay.
believe that's correct. Yeah, it's a very 80s thing to do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I really just think it just adds a touch of class.
Yeah.
I don't know, something about it. I can always go for it. And then the last hot pocket I have tonight, guys, Brian, we're going to come all the way back
Okay.
to the beginning. Directors who were offered this film.
Oh, is his brother
coming
Ridley
back.
Scott?
Is that what you think?
That's what I think. It's his brother.
Incorrect.
Really? Because Gladiator's in your top 10, and I thought Ridley Scott, Tony
The,
Scott.
the,
Okay.
the one in my top 10, I'm so glad that you didn't get this right.
Tarantino
because-
then?
No, I don't have a Tarantino in my top
Yeah,
10.
you do.
I do not.
The fuck? Hang on.
I do not. I'm sure of that.
No, you've got.
I do not.
Oh shit! No, you don't. Was it? It wasn't Coppola, was it?
No.
McTiernan?
My goodness.
No.
Tell us.
Fucking Irvin Kreshner?
No, John Carpenter.
John Carpenter.
Oh.
Oh, Halloween!
Halloween, buddy.
It's
Can
your-
you imagine if this film was directed by John
Holy
Carpenter?
They,
Wow.
Much
yes, there
different.
was a script
Wow.
out there that was going to be darker, more horror style. Like much different. And I'm shocked that they went the whole
John Carpenter.
And can you imagine?
No.
I can't.
I mean, it would have been a totally different...
Completely
why would
different.
he even... I guess I see why he said no. Or they said no. I don't know.
You got to think about that time too. Like, where was Carpenter at the time, and like what did he have finished doing, and then what was he going to get here, and then what did he
This
do
would have
after
been
that?
right, like after like what, Escape from New York or something like that?
Yeah, so he probably would have been right in that 80s, genre. I don't know. He probably would have done something similar to
I
Escape.
wish I could see that movie. Man,
Well,
that would be-
this maybe it says something about the vibe. Here's the other director that was being considered before Tony Scott, Mr. David Cronenberg.
Cronenberg.
Can you?
What?
This is what Wikipedia tells me. So
Cronenberg?
I had the same ones.
that's what it says.
He was like, no, I'll do The Fly instead.
a little bit of a different. Well, I guess things are flying in both.
Yeah, I guess.
He was probably very confused. He probably signed up the wrong one. Why? I got that one.
Yeah.
I could do this.
That's interesting. I did not expect that. I thought it
isn't
would
that
have been
kind of
like a
a-
Ridley Scott
Yeah,
or somebody
right,
like that,
right.
But Cronenberg and Carpenter,
Yeah.
two like body horror guys.
Yeah. Right.
Jeez.
All right, you guys want to do some closing thoughts?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Go for it.
Yeah. Gris, do it.
This is a really fun film. I know how strong it is in the zeitgeist and the world of 80s action homoerotic films, and like Tom Cruise exploded at the time. I can appreciate it. I can love it, but it's just not a great film. I thought Top Gun Maverick was just a 9.5 out of 10 in comparison to this. What did I rate it at? 53. So it's just crazy to think that they can make that much greater of a film with a sequel 30 years later.
I think there's little to no story. There's little to no subtext. It's very thin on just sort of what's happening in the plot. A very simplistic movie. And that's what takes away from it. But what adds to it, to me, it's just a cool movie. The cool factor. I mean, motorcycles, F-14s, aviator sunglasses, aircraft carriers. I mean, come on. It's cool. There's like 5 moments in this movie where I was sitting there by myself and I exclaimed out loud, "Hell yeah!" And that's cool, man. And then the music's great, and the characters are really great, especially the Goose and Maverick thing. So I know that it probably sounds like I'm at a higher rating, but it's just like I need more. I need the movie to be saying something, and I don't feel like this movie is like out to say something. It's out to sort of like create something new. I think it's just an action thriller movie that features high-flying, highfalutin, crazy stuff. And that's fine, and it's just not going to get a higher rating from me for that. So, again, I like the movie, but not so great. I'm not going to high-five you right now, Chris.
Damn
I
it.
thought you were going to do
He was
a little...
in the air and everything. I was ready to go with the high
down
five.
low.
I'm not as sweaty as he wanted.
I'm glad the movie exists.
I think this movie single-handedly won us the Cold War. I think you're some Russian, 1987, sitting in Moscow, and you're watching Top Gun. You're like, well, I think we're done here. And for me, that's what this is all about.
Oh, really? I'm glad that really interesting geopolitical angle came out at the last 3 minutes of this podcast. Let's unpack.
Yeah, no. I just heard someone say that one time, and I thought it was funny. Top Gun won us the Cold War. Because I think it kind of did in a way. I think it's kind of cool. Anyways, no, this movie's fun as fuck. And Brian, you summed it up nicely. It's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Motorcycles, planes, sex and
Watches.
all sorts of watches.
Yeah.
And what more do you want? And just, and admirals screaming things and sweat.
Sweat.
So much
sweat. Just everyone's sweating.
Glistening.
So anyways, I just think this movie's a lot of fun. And yeah, it's kind of stupid and over the top and, goofy 80s, machismo, hypermasculine, whatever you want to call it. But I have fun with this kind of stuff, as I said at the start. So I like this movie. I'm always going to like this movie. I'll always have a soft spot for this movie. So, all right. Well, social media. What's that?
Oh, we are all over the social medias. You should definitely follow us on Instagram at Critical Mess Crew.
And you should also rate us on Spotify podcasts and Apple podcasts. Please rate us and leave us a review if you could. That'd be
we
amazing.
read the reviews. We'll read it. And we'll probably even propose changes. We might do them.
Yeah, the reason
whole-
Tharks is called Tharks.
Tharks exists because of a savvy reviewer. And I'll say this. I typically go back and reread all the reviews once a day. So like you
I do
are
too.
what I'm if you leave us a review, I'm going to read your review for like every day for the rest of my life.
And in all seriousness, those make a massive difference for
They
us.
sure do.
They get us seen by more people, more audience, everything.
Yep.
So
All right. Well, we thank you again, dear listener, for listening to us ramble about this fine film for a couple of hours, and we're going to do another episode. That's right.
Oh, sweet.
We are. And you know what? It's hot right now.
It's
Can I just say
it's really hot. We're in a
We're
heat
right
wave.
in the middle of the summer,
We're in a
and
heat
it's
wave.
hot.
Air conditioners are struggling to keep up.
It's Can I just say it's hot as fuck?
It's
like
wet.
we're in the heat dome right
It's
now.
wet and hot.
We're literally
out.
in the heat dome. We're all sweaty.
It's wet.
like this movie.
Yeah.
But anyways,
in America, it's
hot.
It's summer in America, and
Summer.
it's wet and hot.
it is wet and hot, and so it's kind of a wet, hot American summer.
Oh.
if I
Wait.
might say
Wait.
so myself.
There's a movie titled that.
There is.
Yeah.
There is.
Ben,
Wait.
can you double check that for us?
Let's check the ratings. What did that movie get? Let's see.
Confirmed.
30. Oh,
Is it fit the criteria?
it fits the criteria.
I can't believe it.
Holy shit.
Wet,
What a-
hot American summer.
what a
We're-
coinkydink.
We're going to talk about it because it's hot as shit right now, and that just seems appropriate. So, yeah, we hope you join us for the next one, and we are out.
See ya.
Later.